Baby, it is that time. It is that time. Happy What We Watch Wednesday. It's lit. We've been doing this for a minute. We are talking sinners today. No saints allowed, only my sinners, okay? Welcome, welcome. I see you, I see you. What we watch. Am I muted? I'm not muted, am I? Can y'all hear me? Everyone give me a thumbs up. Can y'all hear me? Y'all can hear me? Okay, good, 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 good. Um, we're talking sinners today. Man, my heart is beating fast. Thank gosh there's no one here to suck the blood out. They'd have a great time. Because I love this movie. I have fallen in love with this movie. I've watched it twice. I fell in love even more. Unlike dealing with some people, they're like, get better. The movie gets better the second time around. So, really having a great time listening and reading everything about this movie. As you know, I am your wonderful What We Watch Wednesday host, Monique, aka Ms Peacherino. Y'all know what's up, and y'all know what it is. We've been doing this What We Watch Wednesday for nearly 5 years now. Y'all have been rocking with me, hosting the best discussions about all of your favorite film and TV shows for almost 5 years now. It is my beating heart to talk about our films. So, without further ado, make sure that you're following What We Watch Film TV. Tap in, click. My lovely co-host here will be timestamping. If you start to spit bars here at the beginning, we gonna get that on record. That's gonna be forever immortalized on YouTube and all of other platforms. So thank you so much again. If you want to come up and chat, come on now, because you know we are the only show that streams your voice, not just a bunch of content. I mean, I am a great speaker, but it's not just me up here. I need to hear what y'all got to say. I need to hear how y'all feel. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So, bottom right, if you're in the Twitter app, the X app, bottom right, or I think it's bottom left, you can request to be on the stage, and What We Watch will handle that. I want to welcome my lovely co host, Tej. We are always in theaters, and let's just get into it. So, I'm obsessed, I'm addicted. It seems like everyone else is. Welcome to the club. The way you feel about Sinners is how I feel about 90% of the movies I watch, okay? Especially by Black independent filmmakers, by women overall. So let's get into it. Let's start with the name, the man, Ryan Coogler, okay? Because he is my guy, all right? And I want to welcome Tej. Tej, are you up here with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Tell me a little bit about how you feel about Ryan Coogler, because we're gonna be here podding quite a bit, guys. But let's zoom out a little bit before we get into the spoilers and let people come into the stage. Let's talk about who Ryan Coogler is as a filmmaker and what it means to us today. What we watch Wednesday, 2025. Talk to us.
Ryan Coogler is him. He's never made a bad film. He has this superpower where he could really put cultural layers upon layers upon layers on top of like the classic genre playbook, whatever the genre is. He's shown you that he can make a superhero movie that's a blockbuster that could get everybody out to the movie theater, but also be wholly interesting and amazing. He showed you with Creed that he could work an IP and say, "Yeah, I know that you've seen Rocky, and I know the general how a sports movie works. This person has to go through their trial and tribulations, and then they get to have a big fight at the end. I know how to give you those thrills, but I'm also going to put ideas of manhood and blackness on top of that, and family legacy on top of that. I know what the
Absolutely.
vampire playbook is, but I'm going to give you a movie that is a vampire movie that is a fun romp and a fun time at the movie theater. But I'm going to be able to give you so many more layers on top of your medicine, which is your vampire movie that you want to see at the movie theater and have fun with it." Ryan Coogler has never
Absolutely.
made a bad movie, and that is the superpower, and this is a great use of it, and he is just an incredible visionary director, and I think it's time to put him on a different level than even we had him after doing something like Sinners.
Absolutely. It's time to have the discussion. I created what we watch, and y'all have, continued to help me build this empire. And it is at its core, it's about the independent filmmaker and everyone in this room and everyone that's going to join this event to like really understand what a filmography of a Ryan Coogler, like, filmmaker looks like, right? And to your point, TJ, with Sinners being this kind of, almost like an odyssey, but like it's a horror adventure, right? And so we're exploring themes of woman empowerment. We're exploring themes of grief. But what Ryan Coogler will always ensure is in his film is that black kid from Oakland, California, and that's very important. He has this way of preserving what it means to be who he is in this industry. And it is threaded through all of his films, okay? Now, we're celebrating Sinners today, but if you don't leave with anything outside of this space today, I want you to know that all of his films have been cooking and been, very top tier, like firing from all cylinders and telling the stories about people that look like us and people that have experienced us and maybe don't have the same complexions and things like that, right? It's more layered than just race, than just gender, than just class, right? Which is why he could weave in the vampires and stuff. I mean, we're talking Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I mean, we go all the way back to Fruitvale Station. We got the Creed trilogy. He produced Judas and the Black Messiah. Like, I want us to be honest. All right, right. This is a Ryan Coogler Stan account. This is a Stan space. I want us to be very honest today about Ryan Coogler being him. There shall be no other conversations about your favorite directors, and Ryan Coogler ain't in the conversation. TJ, am I speaking out of turn here?
No, I think that he's. First of all, heard someone say this, and I couldn't believe it, but it is literally true. He's the most commercially successful black director ever, ever. There is nobody who are putting up the numbers at the box office that he is. We
And
we
y'all
never.
and y'all love a Rotten Tomatoes. If there's a stat, has the highest rated films overall filmography. Has to be across multiple genres, across multiple IPs. So there will be no more conversations about your faves. There will be no more conversations, even if one of even if one of your favorite films isn't a Ryan Coogler film. You love a Ryan Coogler film. All right, but we're here to talk Sinners because I watched it for another time today, and I'm telling you, I fell in love again. I think as a filmmaker, this is a very collaborative thing to do, to like have a movie and have so many moving parts and there's so much time and it's such a collaborative family thing. And we know Ryan Coogler loves MBJ, right? Like they're like this. White on rice, there's nothing separating them from 12 years ago to now. Fruitvale to now. We in 2025 with Sinners. There's no pulling them apart and they are cooking. They are at high levels, okay? And I think it's time. Like, let's talk about the actors in this film, right? Like, let's talk about your favorite actors and why they hit so much. I'm gonna tell y'all my favorite actor, but I see some people that came up to the stage. I wanna let who came up first? Was it Jess or Uncle Ev? One of you come on up and talk to me. Come on up and talk to me. Uncle Ev, here we
I
go.
think I think Bam was first. I
Oh,
think.
was it Bam? Bam, you're next.
Man, you can let Uncle Ab speak.
Uncle Elf, welcome to What We Watch.
Okay. Thank you. Definitely a big fan of what you guys got going on. Real quick, just wanted to say one more piece about Ryan Coogler. What you
Absolutely.
said about, him threading that personality of his as just the kid from Oakland that's just a creative and loves to, do dope, interesting, cool stories. I see that through all of his work, but I feel like this movie, more than any other that he's done, was like really giving me a peek into who he is as a creative and just who he is as a person. I feel like I really got a peek into his personality and even his interests. I don't know if you guys saw, he did an interview where he talked about some of his influences with the movie, and he named one kind of like off kilter one. Uh, Puss in Boots, the DreamWorks movie, he named that as an influence on Remick because the villain in that movie is literally the personification of death as a wolf with red eyes, and like they glow the
Yes.
same way Remick's eyes glow. Just little notes like that. I felt like I really could relate to him as a creative because that's the
Yes.
kind of little Easter eggs that I would put in my work if I was a filmmaker. And I
Absolutely.
think the last thing that you asked was just to talk about the synergy between him and MBJ. I feel like they are the perfect 1-2 punch. And honestly, MBJ, he not only was he my favorite performance in this movie, I think this was the best acting he's ever done in his whole
Whole
filmography up until
life.
this point. This, yeah, this was the first time, probably since Fruitvale Station, but even more so than Fruitvale Station, that I feel like he lost himself in the role, which is what I
Mm.
really love to see from great actors. So I just love to
Yes.
see that.
And truly, thank you for being so brief and so profound too. Beautiful, Uncle Love. Thank you. I couldn't agree more. And what I don't want us to miss this, right? When I say that the most recent work that you did is your best, that means you are getting better, you are learning, you are improving. That is a compliment. That is the of the highest order. When you look today, and if you can say that what you're doing today and whatever your industry is way better and is so true to who you are today, and that people that experience it that don't even have that expertise or that true knowledge of who you are can see that, what what more affirmation do you need to know that you are on the right path and you are doing what needs to be done? Okay, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about Ryan's pen don't get talked about enough for me. That is a fantastic script writer there. He will get you a screenplay across all platforms, okay? Any genre, any IP, he is going to make it. Tease, you've made a great point. This is a vampire movie. This is a vampire movie. And at what point did you realize it was a vampire movie? That's rhetorical. But at what point did you realize that? I got lucky because I go into everything not knowing really what's going on outside of who directed it and who's in it. And I do that by design. You're welcome to join me. I do not enjoy watching trailers prior to the film. I watch them after because I want to just be completely blindsided. So I got really lucky. All I knew was that it was a horror and Michael B. Jordan and Haley Stanfield and Delroy was in it and this new kid was in it and that Ryan Coogler directed it. And I said, well, take me on the ride. And I am what we watch. I do live my raps. I have not finished The Wire, so I take full responsibility of that. But I watched Puss in Boots, honey, in theaters. Okay, at the iPic, I watched Puss in Boots in theaters. I was sat for Puss in Boots. And let me tell you, that villain stuck with me for weeks after that. The food was terrible at iPic. We're going to have to be honest about that. Food was terrible. Service was mid. But I loved the movie so much. That's how you know. So when Ryan Coogler brought up Puss in Boots, that's a 38-year-old man. I'm somewhere between 20 and 30s. And I didn't think that anybody else understood what I understood about animation, y'all. I was like, y'all be asleep, bro. I couldn't talk to nobody but Tej about Puss in Boots. Tej, you feel me? Like, we had a time. Like, that storytelling was phenomenal. The writer and directors of those films went crazy because a good villain is very, very, very important, integral to your story. But Tej, before we pass it to Bam, do you have anything to add on the Puss in Boots experience? Because they cooked.
That's just yes. Puss in Boots was amazing. I think that I just reiterate the point that you just said. Like this is genre. Like this, he is a genre genius. Like you would have never thought that Ryan Coogler is going to go make a horror movie. And in some ways, this isn't a horror movie, but in a lot of ways, that it really is. Like this is From Dusk Till Dawn. This is a vampire movie. It has the rules. The reason why we don't have to tell you how the vampires work in this film is because everybody knows how vampires work because we are steeped in the lore of genre, and he is too. He understands the language of genre, and now I get to use that language to paint the canvas I want to paint on, and that's a literal superpower. That's the hardest thing to do in the business.
And to be as commercially successful and to own the deal that he got. We'll get into it. This is what we watch. We do blend the understanding of the industry while celebrating the creativity of the artist. And I watched the Let Me Ins, I watched the Nosferatus, I watched Interview with the Vampire, and we could go on and on, but those are like the three big ones that, pop out of you. I watched all the Castlevanias on Netflix. I know the vampire story. I know the iterations. I know the lore. I understand it. And then I get to add Sinners? Do y'all know that like this is now one of my favorite movies all time? There's no recency bias either. This is one of my favorite movies all time. And I'm glad that we're in 2025 and I get to say that. Bam, talk to us. Welcome to What We Watch.
It's good to be here. It's been a minute. Real quick before I mention who my favorite actors out of the film were, to the point about Ryan Coogler, something I learned about him in the lead up to this movie was that Ryan played D1 football before he went to film school, right? And as a former athlete, as a former football player, just looking at the passion that he attacks his work with, and like the discipline, and how you're saying like he layers things in, that like meticulousness. I'm like, oh, I get it. Like
This man is good at what he
he
does.
does, and it's that passion that transfers from the field and that intensity to his film work and his writing and just every layer of it. Um, that, and you just mentioned that you were like, oh, I didn't know he'd appreciate animation like that. Once I knew him and MBJ were talking about Creed 3 and incorporating
Creed, the
aspects of
directing.
Naruto
Yep.
Naruto to it, I was like, oh, you one of us, bro.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
you
one
over
of
here?
us. We tapped
You
in.
over here with the nerds? Okay, cool. So I'm right there with him. So I follow Coogler's work. I think I've seen everything except for Fruitvale Station. To be honest with you, I've seen everything that he's done except for Fruitvale Station. Give him his flowers. He's 39 years old. He's the guy right now. Him and MBJ. They the guys. They them boys.
Period.
Now
End of discussion.
when it comes down to the movie itself, man, I'm a lot like you. I didn't really want to watch too many trailers. I sat here watching Sinners, and it was the initial lead up, like setting all the dominoes. And then when it fully steps into itself as a vampire movie, I also was like, oh wait, this is like a musical. I did musical theater in high school. I was like, this is reminds me of like one of the cowboy themed shows that we did, because it's kind of a similar setting, similar timepiece, and you got your musical breaks, your musical numbers, and they're lovely. So it's the way he wheels, like you said, he wheels genre. He's mixing in a bunch of different things, from
And
period piece to vampire movie to musical. It's a pastiche of all these things, and he does it so well. And then
absolutely,
he gets these actors, and
bro.
we MBJ, like Uncle Evie said, uh this to me is his best role. But the people who really like captured me were the ladies.
Mm,
The four ladies in this film. I like, not you didn't just have four characters brought to life by one character brought to life by one incredible actress. You got four of them who are all memorable, even in the short amount of time that we spent with them. Like, they
yes.
all stand out, and that's such an economy of script and time and space that I'm like, bro, we watching a master. He's young. Ryan
You are
Coogler is
watching
young
a master at
and
work.
work. I'm talking about this. Like, I'm blown away. And like you, this
Absolutely.
is one of my favorite movies at this point in time.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to see it again later this week. Yeah, we here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you for joining What We Watch. Jess, talk to us, and then Adam. Welcome to the stage, Jess. Long time listener. Welcome, Jess.
Yeah, listen.
Contributor.
Thanks for welcoming me in. I don't know if you should have did that. I don't know. That's kind of crazy. No, but listen, man. This movie is an absolute banger. There's so much that I could say about this, and even like to Tij's initial point of like, yes, like there's so much metaphor and there's a lot of layers to this, but even in that medicine, he put the candy of it being a vampire movie. We get there, but what I want to say is even in the candy is the medicine and the metaphor. The
Ooh.
setting
Mm.
alone makes this vampire movie like a little bit more different, right? Like when you get into the cultural appropriation, when you get into all of the things, that scene in the juke joint of the music, like the transcending, like Preacher Boy going in and out through time, past, present, and future, the contributions of the diaspora. Like there's so much that I could say. There's so much that we could get into, but
Absolutely. And we're
yeah,
going to get into a lot of it.
Yeah,
we're not going to try to be here for 8 hours because I think all of us individually could talk about this movie for 8 hours.
so truly,
Full.
like when I saw that you guys were doing this, I was like, all right, this is gonna be a dangerous one. But I'll just stay here. I'll land my plane here, and we'll, the conversation will be the
Heck yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
But
Welcome to the stage.
the
I'm
cast
so
is
glad
crazy.
you're here. I think, and I want to pass to Adam. I want to introduce the concept that the theme that stands out to me quite a bit, and that I don't know if people have spoken enough about it. I would love to literally just interview Ludwig Göransson. Um, but this is a story about music, right? This is a story about the history of music. This is a story about Black history of music, Black history in America of music, and how it, affects and permeates and like just injects itself into every single cultural experience that many of us understand across the globe, not just in the, in the, what is it, Mississippi Delta, right? And so I feel like maybe not enough of us are like experts on music, but I tell you what, a great film is going to be educational and entertaining. And I tell you what, I said, you know what? I see, like, there was no way. There was only a little bit of narration in this film, and the entirety of the narration was about music and how it fills your soul and how it may open up your soul to the devil, quite frankly. You know, I thought, I'm not even joking when I say this is kind of funny. I was like, hey, Ryan Coogler, you coming for us because we be at the club, bro? Like, I feel like, hey, man, I don't go to too many clubs no more. Like, chill. I'm not letting the devil in because I'm listening to a little bit of, Kendrick Lamar and, see how I did that there? That was shady. But like I want to go to the club and enjoy myself. Like we don't go to juke joints no more. I'm in LA. I want to be around Black people dancing. I love it. And so it kind of just made me examine my history with music and dancing. And it was just so cool because it was like, this is still a horror though. And the name of the movie is Sinners. And I just felt kind of attacked. Teach, was that just me or did you feel like a little attacked? I felt a little attacked. I was like, dang, the club go crazy. Am I a sinner? And I guess I am. But
No,
I
I
love
didn't.
music.
I didn't feel that
We know
because
you didn't feel attacked. You don't be at the
no.
club.
Well, one, because I don't be in the club, but also two, I think that this movie being called Sinners it's a deft, it's like a classic move. This movie is about people because all people are sinners, and
Like the
what he's
Bible
trying,
says.
yeah, and what he's trying to say about religion, I think, is for interpretation, and I won't go too deep into that. But there is a very strong statement about what his feelings are about Christianity, and whether or not it can be used to save Black people. In the climax of this film,
For
and I
sure.
cannot stop thinking about it. And it has not become controversy, thank God. But I was, when I first saw it, I was like, man, I love this, but also I feel like this is going to turn off Christians, and I don't think that everyone's interpreting the way that I did, and I'm glad it's that way. But I think that there's something to be said about what he's trying to do there.
I am 100,000% with you. Loved that scene. Adam, talk to us. Tell me some of the standout actors for you and your favorites in this film and why you're obsessed like the rest of us.
I hate to be redundant, but the reality is when Tej went on his spiel at the beginning and then Bam and Uncle Ev, everything that they're saying about Ryan Coogler is necessary, but also um, I'm just thinking about it from the perspective of a black man, and in
Mm,
in a world where the reality is, especially in popular media and what people have exposure to, I think the examples of what masculinity uh,
mm,
is lacking. There's I think that only one sort of idea or way is being shown. And when I think about Ryan Coogler, I think about all of his projects, but also the way that he talks about his art. And Bam mentioned how passionate he is. I think that his excellence is a byproduct of his openness. Like he's just a deeply curious person, and his research and how meticulous he is, and how much care he takes with his projects. So when he's bringing the real world into his creativity, he doesn't just kind of fool over it. He really does his best to incorporate real perspectives, real history, so that when he's telling a story, he's telling it responsibly.
Yep.
And I think that's just a major reason why all of his work resonates so much. I know it's why it resonates with me, but it's also inspiring because I think that it's a open model of someone who he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's
Yeah.
sincere, and when he talks, you believe him because it's with conviction and you see it in his work. And so
Ooh.
that's
When he
one.
talks, you believe him. Period.
Yeah, so I had to say
Good
that.
answer.
Now, as far as the performances go, I mean, I think it's easy to say, but like Miles Catton is I don't know how you do
Come
that
on
at
now.
19.
Come on
I
now.
don't I don't know how you do that at 19, and for it to be your first acting role period, and to not just hold your own but really steal the show with the type of company that he was keeping. Uh
Ooh. Yes.
and and I mean, I don't think we went into this movie knowing that he would be the star of the movie, but
I'm gonna tell you something.
that wasn't a supporting acting role. He was the first person we saw and the last person we saw.
The credits said introducing Miles Catton, and I said, "Damn, you're damn right."
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
said,
no,
"You're damn right."
that really he blew me away. He blew me away, but then also Delroy, I mean,
Okay,
like,
finally someone says it.
no, listen. I was
Finally someone.
the listen when they were in the car and they rode by the chain gang and he was telling the story about the train, and the way that they took so many bold risks in this movie, but the way that they overlaid the sound of the mob and and the lynching in the background while they I mean, like, I was
Come on
shook.
now.
I was in there
So
shook for real.
yeah, so look,
So
I'm gonna have to interject. I'm gonna have to interject. Thank you for saying all of that, right? All right, so Adam, let us know. So my standout, and remember this coming from two times 70 millimeter IMAX person, okay? Shout out to you, Ryan Coogler. We're gonna get into that too about Ryan Coogler marketing genius. All right. You got the artist, but you don't always get the artist and the marketer. When he speaks, you believe him. All right. So again, just I don't want no more conversations about movies without Ryan Coogler in it. Period. But let's get back to it. Delroy Lindo was the fabric of the story of this film. Tells you what's happening on the corner when he's playing the harmonica or whatever it is, right? It's a harmonica. Teach, chime in here and tell me if I'm
Yes,
wrong.
that's a Hermione.
Um, he tells you the story when he goes to the door to watch to watch for cornbread and cornbread. He introduces Miles Cat and interrupts him in the middle of it to say, "Hey, tell people who you are." Delroy, I don't want to say he's the foundation because obviously Smokestack is the foundation. Shout out to MBJ and MCJ. um, but Delroy Lindo told you the story. And I want you to go watch it again so you can see what I'm talking about. Because that man, number one, is a phenomenal actor. Go watch The Five Bloods. Go watch all of his filmography right now today. I need you to look and watch how Delroy Lindo literally captures every scene. It is impossible. It's most like I would hate to be on set with him and all simultaneously love it. He's way too great. You put a character in front of him and he is that character, okay? It's like it's too good. It's too good. And I fell so in love with him on my second watch. Delroy Lindo to me is the star. But when I say the star, this is a constellation of a film, okay? This is a constellation of actors, right? But to me, Delroy, it's not enough. It's not enough love for me. I don't care how much it's been. If it's a lot, it's still not enough. Delroy Lindo, cleared. Cleared. And he told you the story. He forewarned you. He showed the pushback on the juke joint, right? He told you I've seen the devil already. The devil done tried to bit me everywhere except for my neck. So really, when he ate the garlic, he had the most visceral reaction. Delroy is him. And I think Ryan Coogler saw that and peeped that. Taj, talk to me. Welcome to the stage. Happy What We Watch Wednesday, y'all.
Hi, everybody. I'm so mad I was a little late. Um, so Delroy Lindo has been it for me since Malcolm X, since Crooklyn, since whatever he's doing. for me, he gives an earlier generation of the work that like Wood Harris does. Like wherever you put them in their supporting role, they bring the best out of everybody that's around them. But they are who they're playing. They're like you really kind of get lost in everything that they're doing. But I think the most precious thing about his performance is the fact that everybody knows an older black man just like that. Not necessarily doing music, not necessarily, drinking, but someone who's there to kind of narrate the happenings and that's there to protect you through mourning. And I think it's important because the stories of fatherhood in this movie are difficult, right? Like you have a preacher who's heavy-handed with his son because his brother was evil, and we know that Smoke and Stack's dad was abusive. That's the storyline. It's why it's part of, I'm sure, Smoke's PTSD outside of the war, but it's part of why Stack is wild as he is. But Delroy Lindo kind of sat in that fatherhood role, which I think a lot
Hmm.
of us get, whether it's through uncles, whether it's from growing up in the church and having elders in the church and stuff that you look up to that really hold you down. But for me, besides that moment in the car, which was improv, I've seen him in interviews today and yesterday saying it was improv, and it was originally cut from the film. And so he went after the first watch and told Ryan he felt like it needed to be included because it was important. And Ryan heard him out and heard him and put it back in. But
Okay.
it was not supposed to be something that we were supposed to see. But it's one of the most impactful scenes. And he said that's why Miles is not playing the guitar at first because he did not know what to do. It's not a reaction. That's why Mike was like, pick up the guitar.
It felt very
You
it
have
felt
it.
very real. Thank you for sharing that because
Yeah,
I love that scene. I love that scene.
I did too, and I loved it because it is something that would happen if an older person is telling you that story. Like, sure, like Sammy's from the South and he's a sharecropper and he knows that stuff gets tough, but still, that doesn't make hearing these stories any less unsettling. So I thought it was just a natural reaction based off the script, but it was just part of Delroy's genius. So I just wanted to circle back. I have so much to say about this film. Oh my God, I'm on my
Everyone
yeah,
does. But
but I just wanted to circle back to the church part because I've seen what's happening, and there are of our
uh-oh.
some of our cousins that are really condemning the movie. Which for me, I'm kind of like, y'all knew what it was about before you went, so to go just to tear it down is kind of crazy to me. Or are you only mad because it involved some truths about the black church? And I think that I would love for my people, and I grew up in a small church in a small town. I'm from New York, and it was a super small town in New York. Um, and left the church when I was 17 because I just wasn't with the shits for real. But I just want our people to free ourselves from being so bound to, as they said in the movie, as we all know, a religion that was forced on us. I don't even think that there was anything. Uh, Negative that Ryan said about the church because it's clearly also where Sammy went to seek refuge. We got to remember before he left town, he went back to that church because he needed to see his daddy again, but he was making a choice. But that is where people go when they just need a moment. He needed to get
Mm.
grounded again. Sammy never had
And
to go back to that church. He could have disappeared and everybody would have thought he burned up with everybody else. He went home, quote unquote. You call your church your home church and stuff like that sometimes.
so
But I
yes,
do think that I think people are having negative reactions and stuff like that, more power to them. But I do like that it has reopened a particular dialogue. I am just sad that there's an automatic uh, reaction of, oh, this is evil. And it's like, guys, like, cut it out.
well there is evil, right?
We
And
all live secular lives, right? Like, nobody is living a quote unquote holier than thou or holier than the next person life.
right,
Life is
right.
secular
And
to
so what
begin
I
with.
think was really impressive too, Taj, and thank you for that because I think the villain himself, what was his themes, guys? And Lakers Guru, you are next. Everybody with their hand up, I got you. Thank you so much for being a part of this. You know I got you. I facilitate this. I've been doing this. We all gonna say what we need to say. If you don't get an opportunity to come up and chat, please hashtag what we watch. We gonna make sure your words get to this space and on YouTube as well. So please don't be afraid. Say what you got to say and hashtag what we watch so we can really circulate it. Because my tweet's already making it to the Sinners movie Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. So they're watching. They see us. They might be in here right now. So thank you for everything, and thank you for everything that you're doing. Thanks for joining this chat. The word fellowship, right? I'm gonna say it like that too, because I like to be. I'm trying to be country like that.
Fellowship and love.
Fellowship and love. Fellowship and love. Way to turn it on its motherfucking head, right? He was like, Mr. Remick Vampire was like, we trying to fellowship and love too. What you mean? The church is really just about fellowship. It is a communion. It is a communal experience to worship the being that you choose to worship. That is the idea of church, as its most diluted level. It's just doing what you do alone in your bed when you pray with other people at a designated time. And Mr. Remick, with his Puss in Boots red eyes, was like, we could do that too. I got you. Let's fellowship in love. And I
The
think the
the
writing is
wife
so.
says she
Go
was
ahead.
gonna they were gonna start a new clan based on love, and that might be of a film with a lot of funny moments. That shit kills me every time. That shit is amazing.
Every time he said fellowship, them ugly ass bleeding vampires was like fellowship. Echoes. Love, love. Yes, come on and join us. And it's so happy. So I think that's a common, recurring theme. But Lakers Guru, go ahead, talk to us. Thank you for joining What We Watch. Happy What We Watch Wednesday. How'd you feel?
Thank you. I appreciate you guys doing this. Obviously, I felt like everybody else did, and I mean, the gas that is happening right now is more than deserved, and probably not enough. But I'm glad you're doing this. I've been waiting for this space, and you had to host a 4 hour space for this movie.
And
I
I
don't know.
did.
I don't
I
know
did.
why you're trying to make it be less than what
That's
it
true.
needs to be. But and shout out to Teach too for co-hosting. But real quick, I'll be brief. You asked. There's been some Michael B. Jordan praise already. I'm gonna be 100 with y'all. Walking in the theater, I'm not really plugged in like that when it comes to trailers and preparation for movies.
Yeah.
I had no idea that he was playing a double role. I had no idea that the premise of the movie involved twins.
Let me tell you, I am so happy for you. Don't let nobody shame you. That is an exciting thing to go into a
It,
movie
it,
knowing shit like that.
I was not only so then I took myself to a place where I said, okay, so this is going to be a cameo, and one of these guys is going to die immediately, and then Michael B. Jordan is going to be the main character for the rest of the film, and that didn't happen either. So this was a roller coaster for me,
I am
and
so happy for you.
so finding out literally as the movie's beginning that he's playing both of these characters was that was something fresh that was birthed right there for me. And I have to say, you can let me know if I'm tripping. I'll get going, but let me know if I'm tripping because I felt like he was so good. I literally interpreted two different personas. I thought there were two different voices. Am I tripping? Like, I don't know. Y'all can let me know if I'm tripping, but I could have swore I heard two different voices from Smoke and Stack. I literally thought he was that locked in. And that's before I got on Twitter. That's before anything. Like, I left the theater thinking in my mind that I was hearing two different voices from Michael B.
Yep.
Jordan. So, lastly, and then I wasn't gonna say anything, but since you and Taj and a couple other people kind of briefly referenced it,
I'm
I
so glad.
will say regarding the church and aspect of this, as someone that was raised and literally musically, I mean, Monique, I've been told that Kirk Franklin was demonic and to not listen to him, right? So we're talking years ago. At that part of the movie resonated with me so much, and I just thank him. I went to see this movie off of motion. I didn't see a trailer. I heard the names Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, and that's what I went to go see it for. Didn't
Period.
even know he was playing twins. That part resonated so much with me, and I was happy. I was smiling through it. It was great. Besides the obvious parts that we all loved, but yeah.
Facts, facts. Bring up a really good point, and I want everybody what we watch. Tell me, based on the audience. Thanks everyone for joining. Happy What We Watch Wednesday. We are talking sinners. If you're just tapping in, all right. Um, there's something to be said here about the Black experience, right? I do remember after I watched it the first time, there was a lot of conversation around this movie is not just for Black people and Black Americans. And I want y'all to know, y'all know. I am a Panamanian. I am a Latina. I was raised in America for the majority of my life, but my culture and heritage is very Central American, Latin American, right? There's a lot of overlap, as it should be. But if you ain't have a parent or an abuela or a tia or tío that told you that something that you was watching was demonic, I don't know if we could really relate. Tej, did you go through that? Did anybody in your family say, "Hey, that secular music is of the
One
devil,
hundred
honey"?
percent.
100. Like, if we please just put your hands up, give me a clap. If I'm alone in this, I wouldn't believe it. All of you have heard some elder in your life hear you and see you enjoying a rap, enjoying a TV show, and they couldn't wait to tell you that it was secular and that the devil was going to come on in here if you didn't watch your mouth. And I think the way that Ryan Coogler just said that without even saying that, and just showed it on screen, man, I had a fantastic time. But I don't want us to like really just be around the edges. I want us to get into it. I want us to get into it. Those of you who hand up, you're up next. But can we talk about the sexiness of this movie? It's not enough for me. It's not enough sex talk for me. The This What We Watch group, go on YouTube and look up the meaning of sex and the importance of sex in these cinematic conversations and intimacy. It's a very serious conversation. I know when we hashtag horny, everyone thinks it's not a serious conversation. Sinners just proved to you what we've been talking about too. This is a very serious conversation, okay? And this is a very sexy movie. This movie celebrates sex as the sin it is labeled as, all right? It celebrates pleasure in a way, right? It tells the story about how we don't need to decenter women in it. Amen. All right. This is a Hollywood film. And they said we do not need to make women the objects of desires in ways that do not prioritize their pleasure as well. Hello? Hello, somebody. Just needed that moment of silence, all right? We're not going to shy away from it. The term pussy, coos, coochie cooter, whatever was said so many times, do not be shocked when I say it, because this is in the dialogue of the film. And that was so important to me. I had a fantastic time seeing how Smoke and Stack navigated their relationships with these women and how Haley Stanfield and Woomy, their characters played perfectly. I mean, played perfectly. How they were the highlights of the film. I think it was Bam that said it earlier. Thank you, Bam. Like, that's important. That sexiness is important. And I'm not, I don't say that lightly. Teach, tell me what you think about that.
Well, first of all, those two black actresses were just some of the most beautiful women I've ever seen on the movie screen. I was in love with them literally instantly. The way that they film, her last name's Lawson. I forgot her first name. The way that she's filmed at that train station when she's walking away from MBJ and they kind of scroll down so you can see the way her butt looks in the dress. It's
Uh,
just Ryan
Porn.
Coogler knew what he was doing
He
with
knew
these
it.
two beautiful women. But I think that we have been saying in what we watch for a while, like we are grown, and sometimes you need to put some grown shit in these movies. We're not all bringing our kids to the movies. Sometimes we want to go to the movies and see something for us. This is an R-rated movie, and vampire movies are canonically
Inherently
horny.
horny.
Yes, they are horny. There's literally a push pull of it. You have to let me take you, like as a vampire. To some of the vampire movies, the rules are you have to convince
Consent.
somebody that
Consent.
they should give them that they should just. That's not Sferatu. She's like, It's not enough for me to just bite you and take you. I want you to offer it to me. You have to let me in. You have to give it to me. There's something very sexual about that. That's always been the case. So this is just another example of Kugler A maybe know what real hoops are. There's some stuff in the scene that might, there's some stuff in the movie that shows you this guy might be tapped into his sex life, and also B that these kind of movies are inherently horny. You don't have to strip the sex out of them. The sex is
Yes.
inherent in them.
Thank you, TJ. You don't have to strip the sexy out, right? If you're out of this industry enough, you hear the conversations. Oh, there's too much sex. And oh, why did we have that scene? It didn't add to the plot. No, baby. There was, and this is where I talk about script writing. MBJ's character, Smoker, I think it was Smoker Stack, who was with Sammy the entire time. He said, this is how you eat a woman's pussy. You find the button. You find it and you do
That
this.
was
This
sick.
is what you do. And then we saw that loop completely close, and we did a beautiful. And let me just give you cinematography real quick. We saw her getting her pussy ate under her dress, beautifully done. You have to kind of do these things in Hollywood, right? Especially with a black woman receiving such pleasure at such a high level, right? We don't see that on screen. We don't. It's not a thing we see. There's a reason why you don't see that a lot in these box office hits. But he does that. And then what do we use? My favorite currency in film, sound. We use sound, right? Sex and horniness is a beautiful thing,
That
right?
was some horny Foley editing. You could hear what was happening. Like there was some real sound in that scene.
That's real sound. And so it's just so intentional to do that throughout all of it. Like the music is there, her orgasming sounds are there, her moans are there, the visual is there, her screaming his name is there, Grace listening through the door. We will not just talk around this. We will talk about it because there's a reason it was in it. All right, I want to let Juanita go ahead and say her thing. Go ahead, Juanita. Because you my music girl.
Oh man, I mean Sound Girl too, bro. I've seen that movie twice. I saw the first one. I saw the on the IMAX 70, and then I saw the second time at the Vista Theater out here. And phenomenal both times. This film, oh man, I've heard people say that it's overhyped, and just in terms of like kind of how they reacted to it. But what I had to explain was there are no holes in this film.
None.
That's why it has the rating that it does. Like when you going down, you don't miss a step. You don't miss a step in the story. You don't miss a step in the cinematography. You don't miss a step in the sound. You don't miss a step in the music. Everything phenomenal. So number
Yep.
one, starting with the story, um, the tweets about no black trauma, incredibly ignorant. um, but
Juanita's here to pick apart some of y'all's crazy tweets. Feel free,
it's
those of you
insane.
who are speakers can throw up tweets on the big stage for everyone to read. Go ahead,
It's,
Juanita.
it's it's absolutely insane. I'm like, you listen to Delta Slim recount a lynching in a train station, and it's crazy because when you meet Delta Slim, this man is a drunk who is playing a harmonica at a train station for tips. Like his life is technically rather sad. They ride by a chain gang, and it's not as sad as that shit. Then he tells the story of how he ends up where he is, and it's like, oh motherfucker. And then that's how you get the blues. That's the blues. That's the blues. So when we talk about music that can pierce the veil and all of that, that story that Delta Slim told in that truck, that pierces the veil. That's what that is. If people missed it, hey man, I get the cognitive
Delroy
dissonance.
Lindo, I'm telling you. Delroy Lindo told you to. Yep.
So now we get into the religious aspect of it. Religious people not necessarily liking the film, calling it demonic. There are two two verses in one psalm like passage that come to mind off the top of my head that this movie speaks to directly. Number one, the love of money is the root of all evil, because that's what tripped them up.
The
When
love of money.
Smoke goes to see Annie the first time and he get on her about the plantation money, and he like, I got this real money, and he like, that's, and
Yep.
that right there sets the ball in motion when we get to the actual juke, and they taking plantation nickels, and they have to tell Smoke like, yo, these folk work hard for these nickels. Like regardless of what you think, it might not be real money to you, but it's real to them, and it's spent where they needed to spend at. So when it comes to that, okay, cool. Once once Stack saw the actual numbers, the plantation money numbers, he got it in his mind, and he got a little finicky. He started to doubt. They could have waited a week and sent them and let them white people go on about their business and came back. But no, he wanted to see about that money that night, and that's what set them off.
Yep. Yep.
So then another verse is, greater men have no life than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. These are
Come on. Come on,
these are
Juanita.
people giving up their like, there were a lot of sacrifices made last like in that film. Then the last one is the 27th Psalm. I'm not gonna recite it in full, but if you know it or if you don't, just go look it up and read it.
Come
Just
on,
go look it
Juanita.
up and read it. Though, like, and that's for just the religious people. Now just getting to the sound, this is my bag. The scene in Annie's cabin.
Mm.
where she's striking that match and it is on the guitar. Oh my God. I about fell out in that damn theater.
Yo, okay. So this is for my two-time watchers. Cause Juanita, I feel like this hit harder in the second time. I even wrote it down. Y'all, welcome to What We Watch. It's Happy What We Watch Wednesday. Juanita's been my girl for
What's
a
up?
minute. What'd you say?
And so what's up?
Yeah, have a lot of respect for her. The Annie's cabin scene is also a great overlooked scene, and let me tap in with you here. She strikes the match, the music plays, and also MBJ's character is a stack, smoke, whatever. He also lights his cigarette at that time. Come on
Mm-hmm.
now, we y'all not seeing shit like this,
It,
y'all
it's
on
it's
screen.
it's tech, and it's to a point that the marriage of sight and sound is so tight and so close, man. I can't really get over it. I'm probably
Yep.
go see it again like tomorrow or Friday
Yeah.
just because. Um, but to bring it to a close, because I'm getting a little long winded. In the climax, when Smoke and Stack are fighting,
Yep.
there is a very nice parallel to Black Panther when T'Challa and Killmonger are fighting on that trainway.
Come on, Juanita.
And I like, and it didn't hit me until the second watch, and oh my God, I almost cried.
Bro. Yeah. If nothing else, guys, please watch the movie twice. Because the shit is going to hit even harder, right? There's no diminishing marginal utility here. It
Oh,
gets better.
I had one last thing. One last thing. I did want to say this. I'm seeing Grace get a lot of shit for
Why?
her for saying come on in. Let me explain something to people who did not catch what was happening. The vampire song is enchanting. It was basically like a siren song. It almost got Preacher Boy and Smoke at the door. It like these are like it got to Grace via Bo, and you just couldn't not hear it. So sound again, music again is the instrument for where these things are set off into action.
I've said that
That
multiple
that
times.
little Irish man was cooking with them songs, boy. They
Bruh,
was
he
cooking,
was,
But
boy.
now
man.
hold on now. Now hold on now. Cause and again, and honey, you said this at the very beginning. Thank you so much. KP, you're next, and then Roland, and then Trayvon. All right, I got you, and then the rest of you, I got you. Come on up to the stage if you want to chat real quick. To the point of grace, because I didn't know y'all was on my girl, right? I get being mad the first watch. The second watch, it don't really make sense that you would be mad. Second, watch it again. Not only is it enchanting, but what did she say before she said that? She said, hold on now. That white man was speaking my language. She said, now hold on now. I get it, but y'all speak English. He sound like he from around here. He just a different skin color. But this man got my husband, threatened to see my child, and all of a sudden he know how to speak my mother tongue? Oh nah. Okay, and I don't know, maybe Tej, and you could speak to this. Tej, and Tej is the antithesis of this for me. But like I fight. I had no problem fighting. So don't threaten me. Don't threaten me. Don't threaten my family because we can go. And no, a group of y'all in here telling me to be scared and concerned and wait till sun up, not doing it. You done taken my husband, you done threatened my child, and you thought you could talk shit to me in my language? You're done. KP, go ahead, talk to me.
Well, peace. Appreciate you as always. Real quick, this was my most anticipated movie when they first announced it, um, and I'm pleasantly happy that it exceeded my expectations. Second, shout out to all the black men running horror, because I say that Jordan Peele does social horror, and Ryan Coogler does cultural horror, and this movie has done more than entertain. It's educated and it's made people interested in going to the movie theater to have an experience.
It's
Like
reinvigorated that desire and that. Yes, exactly.
one of the most because when you're in a theater you have those group dynamics, group experience, just like what most great experiences is done in a crowd. It's not really done alone. So shout out to Ryan Coogler for that. The way that he wrote and writes women with respect,
Mm,
like they're actual human beings,
come on.
and have thoughts and feelings and emotions and can speak and act and all of that other good shit. I love it all. It's not a lot I can say about the movie other than keep going, see the movie as much as you can, as much as you want, because this is a great film. I've seen people start to read books now because of this movie. The way that and specifically about culture, specifically about the Mississippi Delta, specifically about certain subjects. So you get, and it's this idea that that he's only locked into one thing is dismantled. I love the movie. I'm gonna go see it for a third time, and
Me and you both.
shout out to him for introducing me to 70 millimeter. I'm a movie theater goer. I'll just go see the next thing happen. But that 70 millimeter
That
IMAX,
hit, don't
good
it?
God Almighty, that changed my life.
Boy,
I'm a I'm
life
a
changing.
I'm an IMAX snob now. If it ain't 70 millimeter, you better make it 70 millimeter, nigga. You better make it 70 millimeter IMAX. He has made people go want to pay premium pricing to go see a movie.
I just,
Pe-
I
People
feel
are
it.
willing to pay $35 in New York, where I'm at, to go see it in IMAX 70 millimeter. This shit is
Listen,
sold out till next week. I can't get a good seat in the middle. I'm not
you
sitting
can't
up
even
front
get
for
a good
that.
seat. All right, now hold on. Let me check in with all my speakers. Thank you, KP. Let me check in with everybody in the audience as well. Hey, what row are y'all at y'all's movie theaters? Cause like I go constantly. So let me throw in a quick flex. I got the AMC stubs, the Regal, whatever. I live in LA. I got all the American Cinematique. I'm a registered person, so I pay up front. They take that money out every month. Okay, so I every time I'm at the movies, it's taken care of. My popcorn go from $10 to $1. They really need to be paying me to promote this, but I'm telling you, them rewards programs with these theaters and what we watch will be in the mix. I'm telling you, right? Now, I've been building this community for almost 5 years now, and I have always felt like the amount of people that are willing to go to the movies is small. And I heard all of you, and I get it, and it makes sense. But Sinners, me and Ryan Coogler already told y'all now. All right? Ryan Coogler and I have said what needed to be said. You see Ryan Coogler cooking. You see me cooking. I feel like I don't. What else do you need to know? This is a affordable. Ryan Coogler said in an interview, part of the reason why this matters so much to me is that as a child, what my family vacation was going to the movies. And I damn near cried because I created what we watch through tragedy. But the reason why film always mattered so much to me is that we grew up, we had a couple of family vacations, but not like my white neighborhood counterparts and neighbors and stuff. But every Friday, me and my family, we watched 2 to 3 movies. Every X-Men movie that came out, we was in the theaters for it. Every Men in Black movie, we was in the theaters for it. Every Spider-Man movie, we was in the theaters for it. And so that was our family vacation. So nobody on the internet can talk to me about how the movies don't matter. The movies are a communal experience, a family experience, a experience of togetherness. What we watch that makes this shit powerful. And you can never take it away from us. And now you see what happens, right? You can't even go on a Wednesday afternoon. The 70 millimeter that people learned 2 weeks ago what 70 millimeter was through Ryan Coogler is sold out. Now, I want to get into a little dialogue. Ro, Trayvon, you like Bree Mahal, all of you, I got you. I see a new
Ange
face.
just got out of the theater. She literally just walked out of the theater.
I see Cordless Fish. Who's Ange? Where's Ange? Ange is up here. Hey, Angela.
Yeah.
I got you next too. I want to talk a little bit more about uh, the vampires and what that really means. Is I feel like we haven't really gotten too deep into Remick's character and how he affected the trajectory of the story. This on a second watch, and I'll let y'all cook. On second watch, I fell in love with the first part of the movie more. And I don't think that you get to really appreciate the first part of the movie in the beginning. I think everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, the end was perfect. The post credit scenes were perfect. Everything was perfect, even the beginning." But man, did I fall in love with the beginning of this film. And the second time, I said, yo, they set this shit up perfectly. If you pay attention, actually, you knew everything that was about to happen. I was like, yo, I was blown away. Michael B. Jordan is essentially, effectively, a recruiter. He's like a coach. He is like a college football coach out here recruiting people. I'm like, oh, MBJ could probably play like a Coach Carter type or whatever, like, whatever, put him in a movie where he's recruiting. The first half of the movie is Smokestack recruiting people to make this, Devil's Home. The devil came on in there. Um, but create this juke joint and this story. And that's all the beginning is. Hey, I'm gonna pay you money to cook some fish. Hey, I'm gonna pay you money to play the harmonica. Hey, I'm gonna pay you money to give me some beer. I'm gonna pay you money to put the sign up. I'm gonna pay you. That was the beginning of the movie. There's nothing more impressive. Ro, talk to us.
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. I'm at work, so forgive me if I cut out. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to you. Um, I saw a clip earlier today of Ryan Coogler. I think he was on the Breakfast Club. He was talking about how he was having a conversation with someone, and it was like right after I think um Nipsey got killed, and he said something along the lines of rap music being rap artists having these songs, this music, and succumbing to violent ends, and it only happening within this genre. And the person he's talking to said that's not the case because it also happens in grunge music. And Kubler said he didn't know nothing about grunge music, and he said he went and he listened to, you know, Nirvana and Alice in Chains and Stone Temple Pilots and all these artists, and it happened that these guys were dying, not violent deaths like being shot, but they were overdosing. They were still dying, and he basically said he came up with the idea for the music piercing the veil for this movie from that experience,
Mm,
which kind of, made me look at the movie in a whole nother light now. Because
absolutely.
because for me, my whole life has been, I'm not gonna say my whole life has been music because I'm not an artist, but I was born in '79. So my upbringing was hearing the music my parents listened to early in the morning, and it's time to get up and clean the house. So
Yep.
my music is, if I showed you on my playlist, you would think I was crazy because it's nothing really past 19, I want to say 96. But to the movie, um that first scene with the little drawing or carving whatever of the musician, and then the lady looking out the window and seeing the two eyes, again came to me full circle with the vampires and
For
their
sure.
piercing red eyes,
Yep.
right? And then you have the vampires. Now, I've seen people say they don't understand, you know, where Remick came from, but it's not
Mm.
for you to understand because
Right.
he's there. He's there to put that fear in you, right?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily need a backstory for him. It would be nice to have one, but I don't necessarily need
And
it.
I
And
and I
I
think
I say this because look at the remake for Dawn of the Dead with Ving Rhames, right?
yep.
There's no explanation to where those zombies came from. They just showed up.
I think you bring up a very good point with fear, right? Because this is a horror and it's scary. And I did see the kind of where did he come from? That is the part of it that you need to hold on to, right? And I'll teach, I'll let you cook, and then Trayvon is next. But like, you know me, I'm a villain apologist, Ro. Everybody in the room, what we watch, y'all know
Mhm.
what's going on here. I think I love that you bring that up because part of fear is, right, the fear of the unknown.
Yep.
Like, what's scarier? Knowing the fact that the devil is out there and where he came from and his origin, or not knowing and knowing that you could slip up and be enchanted and let him in? Which one's scarier?
Hmm.
You don't even know where he came from. Child, well, so he could just pull up. And it was so beautiful to me from a cinematic perspective because he came and then it kind of, the camera pulled up and it showed you the beautiful, not plantation, but it showed you the beautiful vast landscape of this, area. It showed you the plantations. It showed you how small this house was on this beautiful land. And then that cinematography was then backed by the conversation around the Indians. And then the Indians and the Native Americans showed up, right? The Indians, right? I'm saying it
Hmm.
through the dialogue of the show of the movie. And so when we see these Native Americans show up, to me it was an homage. It was an homage to the land, and that like who's protecting this land, who owns this land, and how come the devil can just
Yep.
and come in and mess up everybody in the town,
Yep.
and to fellowship and love.
Also, I'll say this, man. Um, if I was Sammy, I would have told Pearline to bite me. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Teach,
Didn't.
do you agree?
Perlene was looking, ooh, Lord. That man said, I don't care if you didn't take no shower. I don't care. You had to walk him out here. I do not care, Miss Perlene.
Now I do see the internet. This is Twitter. We don't have to pretend that we're not all on Twitter. You're here on this space with me. Thank you so much. The What We Watch app is coming. We're about to do this where everybody gets to speak together. Everybody gets to be the host of the things that they want to do. This is What We Watch. The What We Watch app is coming this year. I will have my select few beta testers before we roll it fully out. I am so glad you're here. We taking a screenshot of all this. I want you to be first. I want you to get in before it's mainstream and everybody in it. But even through the mainstream, we've created this great way for us to talk about everything that's important. For Tej to have his discussions about how there's gonna be some sex in this scene, right? Tej, tell us a little bit about how you felt about the relationship with all the women, because I feel like there was a lot of that and a lot of dialogue. The way that Smoke and Stack treated Haley and Wound Me, the way that Sammy and Perlene kind of went, the way they all died. Like, how did you feel about that? Like, even cinematically, like, how did that feel for you?
So, uh, Coogler said of the beginning of the film, which, first of all, you know that you're really cooking with gas when you could watch the first 40 minutes of this movie. I knew that there were going to be vampires because I saw the trailer, but if you didn't know there were going to be vampires, you would still be on the ride to finish whatever was going to be the rest of that movie, just by how enthralling it is and how amazing the characters are. And Coogler said I was going to put these black people through extreme vampiric violence. Like that was the deal I was making with the people that sat down in the seats. So I wanted to show something beautiful before, and obviously something beautiful after, which he didn't talk about directly, obviously because it's a spoiler. But I wanted to show something beautiful before and after. And it was like every movie like this where there's a people in a house and there's in somewhere that have to like get through the night because they're a horde of vampires. There are other movies like this. There are
Yep.
tons of them. There are tons of this is a
Zombie, vampire, whatever.
yes, this is a proven trope. People inside the house are trying to protect themselves from whatever the hell happens to be outside the house. It could be a slasher, it could be a zombie, it could be vampires, it could be whatever it is. But
It
how
could be
we
a
get those
supernatural.
people in those house and how we tell you who these people are and how we make you feel about those people is filmmaking. And that is what he was able to do with these women. Like somebody said earlier, these are not women who are just there because they are dating or have dated our main characters. They are main characters in their own right. They have their own storylines. They have their own feelings. They have their own character arcs. And just the way that he's able to present full, bold, vibrant characters on the screen. What the wife does makes her one of the most important person. The wife, the Asian woman. What Grace does makes her one of the most important people in this on the screen, just because she's very important to the movie. There's this oneer they show where he goes to the general store, and then the daughter has to leave the store and
Oh,
go to the other store across the street. So they shoot it behind the back of Grace, up behind the back of the daughter, and then when
Lisa.
Grace is
Yeah.
when Grace is coming back, Grace is coming back from the other side, and now we're shooting across the street. One, we have audio from the conversation happening inside the shop between Smoke and the husband while she's walking, which is just incredible filmmaking. And then two, these Chinese people that came to the Mississippi Delta, they own businesses, but they had to have one for black people, one for white people. So when the daughter is crossing the street, she's leaving the one for black people to get her mom, who is in the business, for the white people. And it's like, I've shown you that in 5 seconds. Like I didn't have to make a
TJ.
scene of it. I've shown you that in 5 seconds. And so, if you want to engage the movie as you just had a fun time watching vampires eat people, you can engage it that way. But if you want to engage what I'm really trying to tell you and get into my layers, you can also engage it in that way. That's why the second time is more rewarding. That's why I want to go back a third time, because there are a lot of layers and a lot of depth to what's put on screen, and some of it you won't catch the first time you watch it, just because you're just so enamored with what you're seeing on screen, which is so beautiful.
Yes.
But there's so much shit in the movie that it's going to reward that third, fourth, fifth watch, and that is when people are creating on a different level. And I
Oh,
want to toss to Ange at some point, but I just want to say that.
yeah, for sure. Trayvon and then Ange and then Jazz. I got you. Um, yeah, time me 20 seconds. Yeah, that is my favorite shot in the entire movie. I've decided. I know everyone loves the other one, the other oneer. Coincidentally a oneer. My favorite part of the movie. It's way too fucking good. It's too good. It has so many layers. And second watch, I was blown away. I can't wait to see what I find out in the third and fourth, fifth watch. Trayvon, go ahead, and then Ange.
Hey, Mo, what you watch? Great for everyone talking here. I mean, I will be short because I know there's more speakers and stuff. We could have a space on this every day if we wanted to. But
True.
one of my favorite scenes that I don't think we talked about yet was, well, it's not really a scene, it's more so the story throughout, is the fact that the
Oh, please.
guitar is their father's. Because there's a lot about energy retention and coming from like an abusive parent childhood and keeping something from there, like people usually go through breakups and they destroy everything that was given to them. So I can only imagine killing your dad
Right.
but keeping this thing.
In our world, you like delete the digital. It's even digital and they delete it.
Yeah, just delete everything memory. So I can't imagine killing him. And I'm assuming, the father played. So now you're having this new guy play who's helping you, get money in a new space. And you can even see, always, I'm still confusing. I need to watch it again, which one's Smoke and Stack. But you can even see his face when Sammy played it. Like, it was almost like a tear was going to come to his eye. And even when they talked about like their own experiences with their, demanding father, and he was just like, what did Sammy say? He was just like, I don't think he meant it or something with like the abuse, like just that idea. So I think like I really want to go back and watch it again and just see
Oh,
that guitar and see what that means. Like that's a very important piece of just things that get passed down from family that involve so much trauma.
thank you so much for bringing that up, right? Heirlooms, but like also not just heirlooms and stuff like that, but specifically through trauma. And I mean, we got a movie with Buddy Guy. I want to be very clear. All right, Buddy Guy is in this movie. Okay, all right. I just want you to know that. The guitarist, the blues man. Okay, over multiple decades. Okay, and I mean, just portrayed beautifully. Just to tell that story in that way was so beautiful. But to your point, yeah, like the guitar, every movie has a couple of things. First of all, there's a preservation and a showcasing of romance in every single film. That is a what we watch pillar, period, end of discussion. But there's also some sort of, they'll tell you when you're writing a script or when you're creating a world and a universe that there needs to be a central object. There needs to be a physical object that is either symbolic or that someone has or keeps or destroys or is after, that kind of grounds the audience and like we know and like it helps the story continue. And Trevon, you were perfect. It is the guitar here, right? Which is this is a film about the griot and music and piercing the veil and death and the purgatory and stuff. And I think that's very important. I'm so glad this is what we watch. This is why we be cooking. Like the guitar is very important because it shows one of our main characters, Sammy, his attachment to that, what his father thinks of it, what Smokestack thinks of it, right? Smoker Stack, whatever they think of it. The fact that one of the brothers lied to him about where he got it from goes right back to the dad saying, "See, that's the devil. You are attached to a thing and you don't even really know where it came from." They done told you a lie. But go ahead, Angela. Talk to me. Thank you for waiting.
Yeah, so I just came out of my showing of it. It ended like around 6:30 here in Salt Lake. And wow. Like I have to go watch it again primarily because I left my glasses, so I really couldn't see shit. But I
Oh
have to go
Lord.
watch it again cuz I feel like I missed a lot of things or to like understand some things. But like I guess like one of the things I really like is when I can go to a movie and then I'm done with the movie and it leaves me asking like legit questions, not like what the f were they thinking, but like legit questions. And so like one of the things for me that I've been thinking is like, I mean, we get like the true villain of this movie is white supremacy, but like were the vampires really villains? Like the
Uh-oh.
Irishman, like was he like really? I mean, granted, to bite someone, you're there's a word I'm looking for. Like you don't have someone's permission to like bite them, right? Like you're
Consent.
doing that
Yeah.
because you want to, right? But like. I mean,
Oh.
he was low key polite. He was like, "Oh, okay, I can't get inside. All right, bet." You know, he targeted the KKK. He told them all the tea. He was like, "Oh yeah, this is what's gonna happen to you. The KKK are fucking you over." Like, was he really a villain, or was it,
Mm.
or is it just like, "Hey, man,
Mm.
racism's fucked up. Let me give you an option. Let me give you an alternative because this shit's never gonna die."
That
So
dialogue was there, baby girl. You
yeah,
got it.
like I,
It was
I
there.
and granted, like I know, like they're able to play on people, like vulnerable, like vulnerabilities and things of that nature.
Right.
But it's just like, all right, man. So you saying that you
Mm.
know that these people are out for me. You specifically targeted these people's like family, right? Like I don't know. And like the Irish jig, I mean, I don't know if I would have
It,
went outside, but I would have been tapping my feet to it. So like,
hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like that Jay Z, GIF or whatever GIF is right. Like I was like,
get like, hey man, we're about love, we're about peace, man. We're not racist here. Like
yo, you know what?
1930s Mississippi, like that might have gotten to me. Like I don't know.
Let me tell you why you're not wrong. Let me tell you why you're not wrong. What did Remick say? Remick said a lot because Remick fucked up. But this is a conversation, and Tej, please jump in whenever, because you know how I get when it comes to what manipulation is and what coercion is in this way, right? Because it flips this on its head, and the idea that vampires, literally the lore, the whole idea, right? It's part of the story that they require consent. So as long really, how are you being? You're not being attacked. Vampires don't necessarily attack you unless you let them in to attack you, right? Now, it gets a little crazy because it's like, well, I didn't let you in to attack me. So sure. But I think what Angela is really kind of highlighting, and thank you for this, and please go watch it again so you can really see it, because when you really can see it, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it even more. But Remick has the dialogue that says, hey man, we're not the KKK. Hey. And then what does he say? He tells you who the villain is in the movie. He literally tells you. He says, Hogwood was gonna kill you anyway. You thought you got over him. That was a beautiful scene, right? MBJ recruiting everybody. Smokestack recruiting everybody, getting their stuff. They good. Ain't nobody stopping them. They from Chicago. The wind blew them in, blah, 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 blah. Hogwood was always gonna roll back with his KKK people and kill you. Just so you know. So why hasn't anybody talked about Hogwood? Number one, fuck Hogwood. That's why you dead. But is that not really who the villain might be? Or is it Smokestack? Is it the villain in yourself? Teach, what do you think? And we'll pass it on.
I think the villain is definitely Hogwood, and I agree. Like this is kind of what we're asking for. We want villains that's going to make you stop and think. Like, okay, hold on, because he kind of has some points there.
He kept
Like,
saying fellowship, and I was like, that's what the church be telling us.
yeah, he kind of has some points there. He knows that y'all second class citizens, and he's saying, look, we could come be together, and I do want access to your brain and access to your songs, but we could play together. We could make beautiful music together, and I don't care about the fact that you're black. And it's really funny when Jack O'Donnell does the thing where he realizes he's not going to get in. He goes, "Oh, this is because where," and he rubs the top of his hand like because we're white. Like I think Jack O'Donnell's performance in this
He's
is
fantastic.
particularly phenomenal. Like he's just incredible. He's not doing too much, but he's doing just enough. And when everybody's outside doing the Irish jig, and now all of our characters are dancing, MBJ is dancing, Haley's dancing, Cornbread's out there dancing. Like that's when you're operating on a level to where you know like this movie can be all things. It could be funny, it could be traumatic, it could be emotional, it could be
To
a
be religious,
musical and a vampire story and religious and a movie about music. And if you can do all that, you can keep all those balls in the air spinning and keep people like entertained and never lose people. Like that is the work of a master craftsman. Period. End of discussion.
period. Jazz, welcome to the stage. Welcome to What We Watch. Happy What We Watch Wednesday.
Hi, thank you. I was hoping I could be here for this. I think like talking about he just mentioned about when they were outside and they were all like dancing around what's his name, Remick. I saw that as like how white people will try to sometimes mimic black culture, but it's not the same. Like I felt he was trying to break the veil, but like with his own voice, but he couldn't break the veil. That's just why he was like, well, I need Sammy to come outside.
He did say that right after. You're right.
And I want to know y'all's opinion on Mary because I've seen like a lot of mixed reviews.
Ooh,
Um, I don't. Now I see people's point when they're like, she brought it back inside when she went out there, but I mean that was her and Stack. I think that shows like that was them being greedy because they didn't have to go out there. But I want to know like y'all's opinion.
my opinion as Mary as a character and like what she did to affect the plot.
Yes.
Um, I think it goes back to one of my favorite things in film, and I don't care how anyone feels about the term romance and love story, and oh, I don't like romance. Yes, you do. If you like any movie, you like romance. Every story is a romance, and so you kind of answered the question for us, right? Like Mary didn't. She was very like forceful, but she was forceful in wanting kind of to support and help and reintegrate herself with the love of her life. She doesn't know anything else. No one knew that Remick was essentially the Puss in Boots wolf. And if you don't know that, you need to go watch that movie. Because TJ, you celebrating Jack O'Donnell, I'm almost certain Jack O'Donnell watched Puss in Boots because that character was also very sarcastic and got it. And anyway, so back to that. But Jazz, my answer to you is I think that is a level of romance that it showed how um, sacrificed and love and how dangerous love is, right? How dangerous it is to be loved and to be heartbroken and to want money, right? Like it was all wrapped up in that scene when she went back and she put her little butt on him and was like, "Give me the gun, boo boo." Like, give me the gun. I got you. You taught me how to fight. Give me the gun. I'm like, why is she backing up? Ryan, horny. Ryan was horny for that. But I would never blame Mary, even though Stack was like, hey man, like, we ain't got to do all this. I don't know. But Stack was complaining and he was like, all right, you know what? She can help us. So I don't blame Mary fully at all. Teach, what do you think?
I think that is very intentional that Ryan Coogler uh, had the vampires quote unquote enter via Mary in her own racial dynamics and someone is white passing. I also don't think it's a mistake that before the shit really gets popping off, before they invite the vampires in, once the Asian couple realizes shit's going crazy, they literally say, we came here to help with the party, but we can leave now. Because obviously, if you have Asian Americans in the Delta, or sorry, like Chinese Americans in the Delta, who are seeing the atrocities that are being committed against black people,
Black people.
they're seeing this, and their role has to be, or at least they feel like the role has to be, all right, well, I gotta be quiet because I'm not like I'm in the middle here, and I want to keep doing business here, and I can't make waves by being, on the black people's side in this regard when the shit really gets thick. And so I
Yep.
think those are very intentional decisions by Ryan Coogler. That's how I thought about the Mary character.
I think so too. And so, yeah, but Jazz's question was like, did you blame her? Right? Like, and I don't think I do. I agree with you. It was
No, I
very
don't
intentional.
blame anyone because she went out there. She wasn't trying to get turned to a vampire, and she had to ratchet on
Yeah,
her. She
yeah,
thinking
she
that
had to
I
ratchet
can protect
up.
myself against anything that I know, but nobody knows that there are vampires. Like you're not thinking about that, so I don't blame them.
Right. And I think it's important for the audience to also see, as you were saying, and I'll just add on to it real quick, is that, you know, the white passing of it all, right? The history between it, the dialogue between, again, back to the romance, it was like, you can rob and thieve, but you can't steal this pussy, And what did he say? He was like, look, I'm in love with you. I love you. I think about you every day. We are not safe. That is the history of racism in this country. It don't matter that you want me or that I want you. We will die as a result of this. And what happened? They died as a result of it. And I think that was perfect. That's perfect writing. They died as a result. They became vampires together and they lived forever together. That's what you wanted, Mary, and you got it. But look at what cost. And so I think Mary was just Miss Ride or Die, and I think it was very intentional because, like they said, white people, many white people tried to come in. When Mary tried to come in, he was like, "Excuse me, what you doing?" She was like, "You don't know who you talking to?" He's like, "Oh shit, Mary, you good? White passing, right?" And then it was like, but anybody else that was white was never gonna get into that juke joint. So that was it was very, very clear to me. I want to let Diner and the Dash go, and then Taj, and then Southern. Oh, and Edwin. Hello, Edwin. Come on up. Go ahead, Diner.
I just wanted to say, not to put another cultural layer of context over everything else, obviously, that's already been discussed. I think it was also very intentional that he made Remick Irish. Um, Irish people and black people have a profoundly complicated relationship with each other throughout the course of American history, both getting along together and very much not getting along together, especially in the years when they were in similar, if not the same, social classes.
Yep.
One of my favorite academic papers that was written in the last 100 years is a paper called "How the Irish Became White." Um, in their status in the 20th century, throughout the course of the 20th century. And I
Yep.
think that was another very intentional decision by Coogler, where Remick is kind of with them and what he's saying and what he's doing, but he's also got, whether how nefarious his intentions are, I guess maybe is up for debate, but the point was there's something else that he's out for or that he's going for, even if he, like, part of him wants to help them as well, which
Yep.
sort of is a complicated dynamic which was ever present between Irish people and black people as a whole in that time period.
The
So I
Black
guess I figured
Irish.
I'd just
Yep.
add that to the conversation.
No,
And Rocky
absolutely.
Road to Dublin's a jam.
That's facts. That facts. He was cooking. Thank you for saying it out loud, right? Because it was very much an intentional thing. The Black Irish, in the streets of New York, in the streets of the Northeast, and the parallels there. So for sure, it's like, hey man, we ain't no KKK. He didn't even really say we ain't no KKK. Remick didn't say that. When he said it though, he was just a little shocked. He was like, whoa, no, we just want to play some music and spend some money. Like we ain't no dangerous people. It's like, well then say, denounce it. But I mean, he did take some of Hogwood's, nieces and nephews and said, you're gonna join us too. Edwin, talk to us.
So I finally saw it today this morning, and when I got out the theater, I was like, Ryan Coogler, you are the truth, and I
Facts.
have been waiting for him to finally have his movie, and because for so many years I still have not seen Fruitvale Station. That's on me. It's just because it's
Yep.
a really hard story, especially knowing like what you know about what happens with Oscar Grant. But seeing what he did with Creed, Black Panther, and even after Black Panther, I was like, all right, he's gonna get his one for me. And he was like, oh, he's gonna do Black Panther too. I was like, oh well. But it's like he did the reverse of everything that a director, especially
Mm-hmm.
an accomplished director, does. Because with Gerwig, Chazelle, Barry Jenkins, they all start with their own projects and then they get their big project later on. No, like Coogler, he did the reverse, and I understand like why he did Black Panther 2, because when you get with somebody like Kevin Feige and all these other producers and these execs around you, you
And
get them to
Chadwick
fund
Boseman.
your programs. Like, and he does special programs for kids who want to participate in film, and he's done incredible stuff. And I was like, come on, man, you got to give us something. And when I heard he was doing this a vampire movie, I don't know why I was thinking of What We Do in the Shadows, the FX show that's so kooky and it's like
Yep.
ridiculous. But I was like, okay, but I was like, I'm with it. But then like when you hear more, like it's in Delta, Mississippi, I'm like, all right, this guy is gonna deliver.
Yep.
And when I got out and that final shot of, well, not the final, but that shot of Smoke and Stacks just looking at the sunset, the horizon at the bottom, and I'm like, this guy is it. Like he is truly special director, because it's like his close to detail, and like you could see it in everything that he's done to this point. Like from the beginning of Black Panther, we get the mythology of Wakanda, what that is. Now we get the mythology of like musicians and like how they
Yes.
connect all of history, uh, from past and future. The
Yes.
same thing with the one shot Tej was saying about Grace's daughter going from one store to the other store. The same thing, like we just get that one shot of Creed walking into the his fight in the first film with
Yes.
Tupac's Hail Mary playing in the background, and I'm like, dude, it's like, come on, like, and it's like,
Like
this is we
he
seen him
too rich.
built up his career, and I don't care what anybody says about that 25-year deal. It's like, dude, like he deserves it. He
Yeah.
deserves his flowers. He
I
deserves his
took the
money.
50.
He deserves everything, and he's a hell of he a hell of a writer. Like
Hell
it's
of a
just like
writer.
this guy
And
is just
it
so
is
good at
crazy.
this detail. I'm just so happy for him because it's like the one guy. It's like an athlete. It's like, come on, man. It's like, I know you could do this. You could do this, and he finally did it, and he proved everybody. He's like,
And
I'm with the Gerwigs. I'm with the Chazelles. I'm with the Jenkins. I was like, anybody put up with me, I am right there with them. You cannot
I,
tell me nothing.
there's no conversation that shall be had about film without Ryan Coogler no more. I'm not talking about it no more. There's no more conversations. If we're not talking Coogler in the conversation, then you have not done your homework. You not tapped in. Because Edwin, thank you so much for. I love a parallel. Y'all know I love a parallel, whether it be through an entirety of a movie or music or scene for scene, bar for bar. That little astral sharing with Woon Me and Michael B. Jordan and the baby, that is literally from Black Panther as well. When he went and visited his father in that plane, I said, "Nah, we cooking." This man, filmmakers, directors, they have a way. They have a seal. You know it's their movie when you see that. And Edwin, you just called all the scenes. Like, you know that they're gonna have this oneer with this crazy music and this crazy layering of sound where you hear, the crowd in the background, but the forefront is this music, and you're sitting with the protagonist. With the Grace and Lisa oneer, which is my favorite of the movie. We get the discussions with the black people on the black side fading out, and then we got the white people talking, and then mama, daddy wants you, and then we follow. And notice that we follow behind Lisa, but we face Grace when she comes, and that shows the mother-daughter relationship too, and how important Grace is as a character throughout the rest of the film. So absolutely. David, talk to me. And then Mahal, I see you up here. Go ahead, David. And then Taj, I got you. David, you there? Okay, Mahal, go ahead, and then Taj. Oh, the Taj Mahal.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, this is my first time in here, so thank you. This is really great.
Welcome to What We Watch.
Yeah, this is dope. Um, I think one of the themes that everyone's talking about has been mentioned is that music is the main theme of the movie, and I think what Ryan was trying to portray is kind of layered. First of all, in my opinion, all music in America and really the world, but all music has been in has been influenced and has a foundation um, with Black people in this country, um, whether it be from gospel, country, and folk music. That's the foundation of all modern music in America, and no one can debate that. And then later on, jazz. And I think that's what Ryan was trying to tell you in that scene when they were kind of going back and forth from the modern dances to the ancestors doing the other dances. All this stuff has already been here already. We've already had that inside of us. It's all cyclical. It all just comes
Yes,
back around in a different way.
it was
From the
already
one
inside
guy,
of us.
yes, from the one tribesman doing that fast dance, and then you have the kid doing the watch my feet, or the girls twerking in one scene, and then you have the other women dancing, and then it shows the other cultures doing their dances. But he's also trying to tell you that hey, everybody takes from us. Everyone takes from us, and they profit on it, and they change it. To segue into gospel and people walking out and then secular music and all that. Again, all modern music, especially black music that we love, have a foundation in gospel music. I can go through each decade and tell you where it's changed at. You can talk about the gospel music from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and then how they got their sound from the Motown folks, and how
Hello.
Teddy Riley came in the late 80s and 90s, and now all of a sudden all those 90s gospel artists are using those same chords. It's really like 7 or 8 chords, whether it be from string or piano, string or keys, that just get changed over time, but they're using the same
Absolutely.
chords. And so also too, with the vampires and how they kept trying to basically play music with them and get involved with their music and say, hey, come join our family. I think that's Ryan telling us, hey, look, these people are vampires. These executives that get involved with our artists and basically suck them dry. And you've had many artists over the history of our time tell you this. Michael told you, Prince told you, Whitney told you, Mariah Carey has told you. There's been so many examples of these same executives that get involved with these people, make them stars, and then take their talent and then do whatever they want with it. So I think that's something that Ryan was trying to tell us with it.
I think it's beautiful because Remick, the main villain, right on its front, right? We've challenged who the villain was, and I love that, Angela, earlier. Thank you, Mahal. I think something that you're saying is very highlighted in the dialogue from Remick when he says, "Well, I can see his memories. His memories are my memories now. We
Yeah,
share memories." It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. What you mean we share memories? Like, and so that was maybe, if there's like, an analysis of the film in that way, it's like, we're sharing it, but you're still at the top. You're the
right.
master vampire. Yeah, so thank you so much for that. Taj, talk to me.
Whew, I've been sitting here for so long. I have so many things to say. Okay.
Ciao.
No, literally. So, um, I'm gonna start. I think Grace is a villain. Period.
Uh-oh.
Grace is a villain. Yeah, okay, yeah, he's speaking my language. You already know what's going on. Why? Because the black woman standing there, okay, our hoodoo priestess already told you what's going on here. Grace and Bo, for me, represent what happens when certain Asian Americans, I'll say, are one with their culture versus becoming the model minority. And for me, Grace exists in the movie to show the model minority because Bo is like, nah, we gotta stay. We can't go right now. He's down for his people because he's understanding the struggle. He sees it every single day. It's also
Very true.
clear that he's closer to that because he works in the black storefront. Grace does not. Probably also has to do with the fact that he's a male and, men looking at white women strange, all whole bunch of dangers. So that's probably a safety precaution. But the fact that Grace immediately is like, nah, we did what we had to do. We got to get out of here. But
True.
then you're the first one to call people in because you're being selfish.
True.
You could have stepped outside to be one with Bo. You didn't have to call everybody in, but you want everybody around you to suffer because you're suffering. So Grace is a villain. I'm not going to be convinced otherwise.
Ooh,
Don't feel bad for her. You want to get back to your kid? Take your ass outside. Go with Bo to get the car. Walk with Bo to the car since you know what's going on. But until she was fully affected, she didn't care. So yeah, she's a villain. She got to get out of here. Period.
that's why
That's
she
why her
burned
ass
the
is
way
burning
she
like
did.
that. Couldn't stand it. Remick's a villain for me. So I am challenging you guys on that. This whole was he really, because he went through stuff too. The fact that he can even oscillate between being oppressed but then also turning up and being white tells me enough. So the whole thing is technically white supremacy is the villain.
Yep.
He's a villain because he's really just feeding into that. He used white supremacy as his device to recruit people to help turn everybody.
Yep.
So to I forget who said it, but when the Irish became white, that's a thing that happens with different white groups over time. But he's a villain. And to Mahal's point just now about music and music history, um, and white folks stealing or appropriating music. I mean, we have Elvis Presley, you know what I'm saying? So we can go, and look at it that way. That's all that Remick was. It was just giving Elvis. And it's like you doing it but not exactly. Is this you're trying but like not exactly. But also there's nothing, the thing for me too is there's nothing wrong with your music. The shit slaps. The jig was slapping. We all loved it. We all loved it. It's part of why Riverdance is such a success in general,
Yep.
because we love it, because it's rhythmic, because it is very, very, very
Heavy
unique.
and
And in a
yeah.
way,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? It's communal.
Yep.
Like that's a very communal thing. And then with the music, I think yes, everything comes from gospel, but I think that also intertwines with that scene focused on dance and music because everything is really like those harmonies and stuff like that. The modulation in that scene, that's really derived from what Black people were able to keep
Yeah.
once we got over here. Like all those hymns and stuff like that came later and come after things like follow the drinking gourd, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And our call and response and the reasoning for that. So that's
Absolutely.
another reason that scene was so amazing, and I think why the emphasis of music in this film is so amazing, because it's not necessarily just about a connection with the spiritual realm when it comes to quote unquote God, um um or like holiness. It connects to that astral realm you guys were just mentioning, and ancestry, and summoning that, which I think Annie was a great device for. And I think she's
Oh,
also there to tell you, if you just listen to Black women sometimes, you might be all right. And that goes for everybody, including Smoke. He stepped up in her spot, just disrespectful, just, oh, this
yep.
magic shit and this fake money and how this and that. But when she looked at him and was like, but that mojo bag done kept you and your brother safe, he couldn't say anything.
Couldn't say
And then
anything.
it's,
Quiet.
oh, I actually came to ask if you could help. But it's like, just listen. Cornbread wasn't listening to her. Cornbread in that scene, when he comes to the door and Annie's like, no, hold on, wait. He basically tells her to be quiet and then starts talking
Smoke.
Delta Slim.
Not to
Delta
sleep.
Slim's a drunk. So you would rather engage with someone who's a drunk, which was emphasized by Cornbread
Yep.
in an earlier scene. You would rather talk to him and ignore this Black woman. Why? Because she sees right through you, and you know this
She
already.
already clocked
So
us. Yep. That's why you all
I
right though.
just,
Yep.
yeah, like I love that, and I just
I think
and
you.
you know, to just double down on what everybody said. I just love the reverence that Ryan held the women in this film in, because even
Yes.
the villainous vampire woman, the not poor thing, she KKK and all,
Right.
but she's just doing what she was just told to do. She's the last victim in that house. She couldn't be saved because she's waiting for her husband to tell her what to do. He's out of here. She's not going to listen to a stranger before she listens to the man that she loves.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a way that he kind of showed certain vulnerabilities of women of a certain time, but also now sometimes, but
Yep.
also showing the strength, because it does take a lot to go to the door with a gun to face men with guns on horseback and stuff like that. So it's
I think
I mean, he wrote a movie. He
he
wrote
wrote
a
a movie.
film.
I
Wrote a film.
think, and thank you. I think you bring up a very good point. We've been talking music. We've been talking sound. We got about 15 minutes left in here. I love this. I love doing this, and I'm gonna get everybody that's on stage. And y'all, please tweet out how much you enjoyed it. Share it on your profiles, and make sure that you tap in and subscribe on YouTube. Don't leave here. This is what we watch, and I want you to also make sure that we do this in real life. We do this communal shit together. This fellowship. Okay, you come on and join us. Come on down. Okay, you come on down and fellowship and love with us at our film festival, our third annual film festival this year. Make sure you get these artists that you know, these independent filmmakers out there. We have a great time every time. A lot of people in this space have been in these rooms with me. They know how amazing it is. They know how I curate an event and how I bring us together in what we watch. It is about us. It's not even really about me. I highlight all of the independent filmmakers. I highlight the Ryan Cooglers before they become Ryan Coogler. I highlight the Jordan Peels before they become Jordan Peels, because we see it. We know what's going on. We know who dedicates themselves to immerse themselves and take care of the stories that we tell on screen. And that's what I feel like Ryan Coogler did. He took care of this movie. He took care of the history. He did his research. Like, you don't even have to watch the interviews to know, but go and listen to him speak about his process. But it's evident in this movie. But like I said, Taj, you highlighted you said the word dance, and I don't think that was said before. And we have to stick with dance a little bit, right? Because it's music, it's sound, but dance is a language for us, right? For everyone, really, but we're talking about us. This is sinners. We're talking about us. It's a language for us. It's a body movement. It's an expression, and it's in our DNA. So to me, the oneer, the long shot, the continuous shot that everyone's obsessed with, that was beautiful, that took a lot of work and collaboration, and most importantly, trust to make that film. Like, that feeling that you had in that theater was as a result of a lot of trust in time and talent and dedication to that. And that is in our DNA, right? Like, shout out to Kendrick. Like, that's not just a rap bar. Like, it is in our DNA to be passed down through our ancestry to communicate with our bodies, to communicate expressively, something that you cannot take away from us in that way, right? It's through our soul, it's through our history, it's through our expression, it's through our emotions. You can't tell me what to feel, and you can't tell me how to express how I feel. And so it wasn't just when we think music, this movie is about music, but it was also that shot that took so much, people were dancing. And people were dancing in every single decade of music. And that's fire. I wanna highlight some new ones. David, you're next. But I wanna welcome Dub, and I see Chunky. I mean, I think you've been here, Chunky. Um, but Ash Wonder, I see you as well. And that's just what and hey Kevin, welcome to the stage. Come on up if you can join. Um, David, talk to us.
Yeah, it's funny because I was literally going to be speaking about that, and then Taz comes, but I am totally on the opposite side of her as far as it pertains to Grace
Mm-hmm.
as a figure. And I'll start by talking about a film I love, Crimson Tide. And there's
Mm.
my maybe arguably my favorite scene, which is where they're all having dinner together, and Gene Hackman mocks Denzel Washington and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, von Clausewitz is going to tell us about the nature of war." And Denzel says that very famous line where he basically says, in a nuclear world, then the true enemy is war itself. And you could take war out and you could apply it really hit me and reverberated through so many different films that I've watched and so many different things that I've seen, that you can take war out, you can put in white supremacy. It's the same thing.
Right.
Everything that happens as a result of that, coming from that point, even within the movie itself, is the result of what war does to people's mind state, what it does to their emotional state, all these things. And the same thing with white supremacy. The idea of the shack is not this place that everyone's. I think you have to accept that the shack is supposedly safe to be against Grace's decision. Because if you know that,
Yep.
as they already said earlier in the movie, that you couldn't even go to Chicago and be any safer than where you were, then why would
They
you
came
think that
back to the
shack is
Mississippi Delta.
exactly? Yes, it came right back because it's all the same. Then what makes you think that shack was somehow a safe spot? It wasn't. You were always, some way or another, they were going to, because that is the nature that they have all the resources, they have all the power, they have all these abilities, and what they can do is constantly entrench you and hit you from all these various angles. And that's what they were doing, just jabbing it, because eventually, just like the Raptors in Jurassic Park, they find a fucking weak spot. Eventually, they hit something. That's not, to blame the person is wrong, because it is an inevitability. You're going to land on somebody's armored chink, whether it's one individual, whether it's 9 individuals. You're going to find some part that is like, oh, that's a little tender there, isn't it? Got you. And
Gotcha.
that's why so many of us are attacked in the way we are. And there has to be a point, number one, that we hold grace for each other. But then beyond that, and thus her name is Grace. But also, I think it's important to understand, what was she really doing? She didn't go and say, "Please, yes, vampires, I'll let you in. Just save my child." That is a selfish act. What she did is a war cry. What she
Yep.
did was say, "Come the fuck in and get some, bitches. This shit is done. We're not standing here. We're not doing the hiding thing.
We
We're not
ain't
going
scared.
to." Yeah, because we're not going to ever be safe until we get the fuck out of here. And yes, obviously what was driving her was a grievous decision. She just lost her husband. We have to also understand that everybody else in that the main characters in there all had nothing to really barter with. As far as Remick had nothing on them to barter with. He had
Yep.
already killed what's his name's brother. They're dead. What are you going? What do you have to barter? And I know who he is. And then
The
even look at
movie
the fact
showed
that,
that well because Remick
yes,
started to look a little shook. He started to look a
yeah,
little
yeah,
dejected. My guy
yes,
was
he was like,
torn
damn.
down. He was like, "Damn, what am I gonna do to get these people to let me in?"
Yes, and largely because, again, you've already done the worst, and most of the people are savvy to that. But you're talking about, she still has somebody out there to worry about when everyone else doesn't. You can't, Woomies and Smokes, I can't remember which one, Smokes or whatever, their
Yeah,
child
Smoke is
is
one.
already dead, or he would have been bartered with that. And I guarantee you, either one of them two motherfuckers would have acted different if their baby was out there and he said, "I'm going to go get your baby right now in the crib." So the idea is, you can't just dismiss obvious elements that are causing people to react in a different way, because that is exactly how it functions out here. Each person is pricked according to wherever the spot that they believe they can get you. He tried other elements, but it wasn't because they were made of steel. It's because ultimately you had already done those things to them.
And if
So,
I and if I may, right? Because everybody that come up here and say something, I can tell
mhm,
you the dialogue that kind of supports what you're saying. And I want to go
mhm,
back to Smoke visiting Annie, right, and his
mhm,
child, and their deceased child. Annie
mhm.
was like, hold on. She was like the only one that asked the question in the damn movie. Where is this juke joint coming from?
Right,
How you get that juke joint? You know, she was rolling her neck and
right,
everything. How you get that old sawmill? How you get them crackers to give you that old sawmill? And you keep
yeah,
using the word, and I don't even think you realize it, but that is a large theme in this
mhm,
movie: bartering, trading,
yes,
bargaining, trading, money for this. You know, Smoke and Stack was like, we got the money, we got the booze, we got the bitches, we got the music. That was their bartering. Remick was like, fellowship and love. I got you. Like, that's what you want. Stop saying that's not what you want. Sammy, you go to church for fellowship and love. I got you. Come over here. And you ain't even got to worry about no racism. Right. And so I think when Annie questions, what did you do to get that juke joint, is exactly what you're saying. How are you sure it's safe? Who did you buy it from?
exactly, exactly. When the whole thing you're doing is not only in a shack or a house or a building that belongs used to belong to them, and you're on ground that they have. It's not that it actually in any reality belongs to them, but in the reality that's been created by the system, yes. And so ultimately everything you're on, as again the movie was trying to, I think, really say, and I think it's less about just, it's not that it's not about how letting people into spaces, but I think everybody got on that tagline and started unraveling that yarn so much that they weren't thinking about that this is also a movie, it very much so about struggle and about the nature of it. And that we also have to remember that one of horror's greatest qualities, and I learned this when I watched Aliens like 20 years later after I first saw it, and I used to get so mad at Bill Paxton's character because he was great, but it was always like, this guy's a fucking loser. But again, it was like, what are the real, what again, we celebrate people because they go above and beyond. Whenever you are being a hero, you are just displaying skills that the average person wouldn't display. That's, or we're not celebrating it. And
Yep.
the point is that when you are talking about situations that happen where you ain't never seen no shit like that, like this is several situations on any one of these people, but especially Grace as a character, you're talking about vampires just like you're talking about xenomorphs. You do not believe this shit exists. You take for granted that your world is exactly what it is, and now you see it, and you see it in the worst way possible. It just took out your whole, and aliens wiped out your best Marines and did it like they were cutting through butter.
Right.
And so, like, and
That'll
then your
shake you
shit
up. That'll
cracking.
shake you up, honey.
Yes, it will fuck you up. So him saying game over was the most natural reaction, and all that shit that he's doing is natural. It's Sigourney Weaver who is actually acting unnatural. And it is to be praised, but it is still, I'm not saying that as a judgment. I'm saying that it is still the other
Mhm.
side of what is normal for somebody to react in a situation where literal all hell is breaking loose. And it's the same thing here. You have to identify the reality of, like, not this whole idea, I be doing this, I be doing it, just like we do with slavery. Oh, I would have took that whip. Yeah, that's what you fucking say. But there's a reason why it took 400 years, because
There's a
it's not
reason.
about weak people, and we're not a weak people, but the nature of this, the power of this, the length of this, the
Yeah.
breadth of this, you just cannot deny it. And when you do, I think you fall into these traps where you start blaming this other person and that person and getting more angry at them than you are at the whole idea that you're in this very situation in the first place. So that's my thing.
I agree. I agree. And I think, I want to let Ash Wonder and Dub speak because they're new here. And thank you, David. I think also something to support what you're saying is when she passed that garlic around. When she passed that garlic around, it was like, we in this together and we not going to blame nobody, but we still need to prioritize the safety of this community in general. And who led that to? Annie, a black woman. A black woman into a bunch of voodoo and all that stuff, and everybody except for Perlene was willing to take that garlic and prove they wasn't. Now, I ain't gonna lie, they had me a little bit there. They had me a little bit there because I don't like eating garlic like that. Like, I can barely stand the smell, but I love it when it's cooked and everything. Don't cook me nothing without garlic. But the cloves, oh, I'd have been like, damn, Smoke, you might have to shoot me, Lord Jesus, because give me some time. Like, can I just hold it for a second? And I was literally, this is how I felt in my head. I was like, wait, now it is just like if the garlic touch you, you can see something. I'd be like, can't you just see that? Like, if I put it in my mouth and it touched the inside of my mouth, like my mouth don't burn. Like I gotta chew it and eat it. But anyways, yes. Welcome to the stage, Ash Wonder and Dub. Thank you so much for waiting. Ash Wonder, talk to us. Happy What We Watch Wednesday.
Hi, thanks for having me up. Good evening, everyone. I'll try to be really brief. So two things that really I've just been thinking about a lot. Regarding the music scene, there's a really popular infographic that's called The Evolution of African American Music. I'm sure you all have seen it at some point on your timeline. It's by Dr. Portia Maltsby, and it essentially chronicles sacred African American traditional music, hymns, folk gospel, and looks at how it parallels against secular traditional music, rural blues, gospel quartets, and where they start to overlap. And so that music scene really was just like the cinematic version of this just come to life because I've seen this graphic like so much. And then
Yeah.
eventually it ends down at like rock, soul, go-go, funk, house, and you see the kind of blend of all of those genres. And so it was really nice to just see that come to life just vividly. And
Yes.
what one thing that Ryan said in his interview was that when his uncle passed and he was really missing him, he would just cut on the blues. And I think it was just a reminder to just, go to your grandma's house, go to your auntie, sit down and just play some music because regardless of your stance on, Christianity, religion, hoodoo, and whatnot, you can always channel and get in touch with your ancestors through music. So that's just my piece on that. And then with the vampire lore of being having to be invited across the threshold, just another emphasis on that point of we have to stop creating spaces that we say are for us by us, and then inviting people in just because they dance maybe a little bit similar or they make a little bit of a catchy tune or we can bob our heads to it a little bit. It kind of just created that parallel for me because we see in real time what happens when we create spaces and let white exploiters and the like infiltrate and kind of exploit and take away and as someone said earlier, literally suck our talents and our creativity, our creative spaces dry. So that was just
Yep.
an
Yep.
interesting parallel. And then we see even something that I've been thinking about is when we're talking about bartering and they weren't happy
Yep.
that they were getting some of the fake wood chips from the plantation, but was that worse money to take than, the vampires' money? Like we know at the end of the day, it
That's what I'm
wasn't.
saying.
So,
The bartering
sometimes exactly we don't need
was
to
very
make money
important
from
because
everything.
they had
Hmm.
the gold. But
Hmm.
and what did Mary say? Like the bartering system was there because money barely mattered. Because even the vampires, she was like, "Well, this looks shiny and valuable, but where can I use it?"
And so even when, Stack was originally like, this is for us, by us, the moment, a little bit of coin is dangled, it's like, well, maybe we can take a little bit, but we know what happens when they get 5% ownership. Next thing we know, they
Yup.
control the whole genre, control the whole distribution, you know, threat, just all of that. Music, movies, fashion, pick anything
Yep.
creative.
Yep.
So that's my
And
piece. Thank you guys again for having me and have a great night, everybody.
oh, absolutely. Yeah. And just to Ash Wonder's point, if you like music and film, watch Summer of Soul by Questlove. um, a beautiful movie on the history of not only black music but concert going, which is the additional level of communal experience through music, right? And it shows a lot about the history in comparison to how it was received from like Woodstock, right? And it talks about I'm not going to spoil the movie. You should watch it. It's a kind of a documentary, but it's a film, and it was one of the first films I watched when I moved to LA. And I went with someone in the room. It was a really great experience, and Summer of Soul changed my life and changed my understanding, or helped celebrate my understanding. And so Sinners doing this, like let's just really get back into Sinners, right? Like Sinners doing this, making us talk this deep into kind of music and history and who's the villain and how it affects us, and slavery and imprisonment and plantations and grief, right? And our relationship as a community of, black people to an eighth black person and a fully Chinese person that's immersed in sounds and talks just like us. You know, my personal experience with Chinese people is they owned all the corner stores that I grew up going to in Panama. It was a very simple thing. It never occurred to me. So when I moved and I, made this life in America, right? I mean, I've been here my whole life, but like I traveled back home a lot when I was younger. I didn't understand why people didn't understand this. And so, on another level, Ryan Coogler is cooking because he's blatantly putting it out on the floor that Stack goes and, meets, is it Smoke? I think Smoke does. Well, whoever goes and meets with Bo at his, corner store, convenience store, and then sends his daughter to go to the white side. Like that history in the Mississippi Delta, it felt so fucking cool to me to see that because I know that. And people in America, the people that I've been around, don't know Chinese Caribbeans. They don't know country Chinese. They don't know like Southern Chinese people. And I'm like, these people exist right here in our communities. And they have, and they're part of, the service of the community. And they're there. And so, man, I'm being redundant, but that is the power of film, right? Like that's why we cook, and that's why we can have a 2 hour conversation. I think it's serendipitous. I think it's perfect to have the runtime is 2 hours and 17 minutes. We're gonna talk about it for 2 hours and 17 minutes. We got about 10 minutes left, and that is what I love about what Ryan Coogler did with all of his actors and actresses, and what he did with the story of music and the griot. Right? Don't skate over that. Don't skate over the fact that this is a movie about music and piercing the veil, and then you can get into everything else after that: religion, grief, uh, music and its relationship to sinning, and all of this other stuff, right? Relationships with women, right? Women empowerment, how women have been there and have been protecting, providing, supporting. Black women have been protecting and providing and supporting for forever now. And so just from like a cinematic storytelling perspective, we get these women that get to be at the helm of all of these scenes, and that is very, very intentional. Dub, go ahead, talk to me. Welcome to What We Watch. Make sure y'all ready to tap in for the app. Make sure y'all subscribe to YouTube, and make sure y'all are supporting and encouraging people to submit their films to our film festival in August. Go ahead, Dub.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys for staying on and listening to me too as well. Um, can you hear me? I'm gonna make sure you guys can hear me good.
Yep,
All right,
we
perfect.
sure can.
I just want to say when I first watched this movie for the first time, I liked the movie, liked it. But when I watched it for the second time, I loved the movie. And not because of, everything. I want to say not because of everything everybody was saying, because I saw the separation. I saw the systematic discipline. I saw everything. But the stories that were not told is what really
Mm,
stood out for me on the second time that I watched it. And I say
mm,
that by saying this: the story that there's so many of our people, black people, that came from north and tried to buy something down south, and the Klan killed them. And Ryan Coogler hit on that perfectly. Even though it was just a
yeah.
segment of the story, man, there's so many other stories just like that, and that people don't even realize that this is a history too as well. You know what I mean? I want to go back to the young girl that said something about grace. I get it, but as a parent, I'm doing the same thing. You're going to threaten my child. There's no way that's happening. There's no way that's happening.
Agreed. Yeah.
There's no way that's happening. The story of the guitar, I feel like that was such had so much symbolism in it that nobody really gave it the credit for. The fact that the dad
Agreed.
was like, "Yo, you let the devil in here." He knew that that was his brother's guitar. He knew what type of person his brother was. You get what I'm saying? He knew, and he felt he
Let me
probably,
and let me be let me just real quick. I'm gonna just give you the quote because again, every time y'all speak, I got the quotes for you.
yeah.
You keep dancing with the devil, he gonna follow you home. That's a very intentional quote that was said very specifically. He didn't say the devil coming with you. He didn't say the devil is in you. He didn't say the devil is watching you. He said if you keep dancing with him, he will follow you home.
You
Okay?
don't think he didn't
Like,
say that to his brother, who owned that guitar? You don't think he said that same thing to his brother who owned that guitar?
Let go of the guitar, Sammy. Let that guitar go.
That's crazy. And another thing, what I caught this the first time I watched it, and then the second time I had to like really pay attention to it was the whole fact that Haley Seinfeld's character, every time she met someone, she's like, "Yo, y'all didn't come to my mom's funeral." And then I had me, and you had to
Yeah.
realize, like, yo, these one, all these people grew up together, so they already have that kind of relationship too. And two, they're living on a plantation. The mindset of these boys, like Stack and her, I'm pretty sure Stack was on that plantation, fell in love with her, blase, blase, the whole slave master love story with that. The fact that she's
Right.
1/8 black lets me know that either her dad or her grandfather was messing with a slave and that became her grandmother or her, you know what I mean? Like the stories that he was telling in those little segments, I feel like if you go back and watch it for a third time and a fourth time, like
Mhm.
everybody's been saying, that's going to make you even more intrigued with watching a movie that you've already watched for two or three times. Like
There is
it's
there
crazy.
is there's nothing that this film doesn't tell you, but I like the way you phrase it. It's like the untold part. It's still presented, it's still preserved, it's still showcased, but it's this untold part that was still shared. It was still put on screen. And that's why movies matter to me, right? That's why movies are my entire life because we can say it and we can show you without having to say it. And I want to wrap this up with me and Tej giving you the real bars around like our favorite scenes and our favorite quotes, and I need y'all to tweet me y'all's favorite quotes as well, because there's at least 35. Give me your top 15. No, give me your top one or two. But at the end of the day, Sinners was perfectly written, it was perfectly shot. And I don't even want to use the term perfect as though that is a requirement to garner this type of celebration. It could afford to miss on some things, and I would still talk about this movie like this. I want you to know that. Parasite is the reason why I was able to create this life for us and create what we watch. And I've never wanted to watch a film so quickly and repetitively as Sinners than Parasite. And that was the last time in 2019, y'all. And so to see y'all on that same wavelength, like caring about 70 millimeter, caring about IMAX, like Tej, Teach me and you gonna be at the theater no matter what. We'll be at the New Beverly. We'll be at the American Cinematique. We'll be at the Lamelli Theater watching the no other land like nobody else did. It's me and TJ in the theater, just us. Ain't nobody else there, but we're there. So to see this kind of engagement, it is just so perfectly meta and like woven into what Ryan is trying to do, which is come watch this movie, come learn, come get self-educated on not only just, black history and music and grief, but on how to eat pussy as well. And how to like maybe respect and honor women and maybe to understand like what happens when you don't love on your woman properly, right? What happens when you fall in love with money, right? Because I'm gonna tell you, they got me. They got my ass. I thought Smokestack and them, I knew they were gonna fail, but I didn't think it was gonna be that epic of a fail. I did not know that Hogwood was always gonna kill them. When Remick said that, I said, Lord, I said they would have got me too, child. Because Smoke or Stack would have came back and said they bought the mill. I would have asked the question like Annie, but then I would have been like, all right, well, just make sure you got some security there. Make sure you got it there. But that's great. That sounds fun. I'll make you a catfish for you. I'll come in and dance a little bit and drink some Irish beer. Just make sure you have security. But then it's like security didn't matter. Cornbread didn't matter. Delroy's talents didn't matter. Mary being, on 10 and ready to get the money back to where it was didn't matter because it was built on a lie. It was built by the KKK. It was built and owned by evil people. So even you trying to buy it from them, because remember Hogwood was like, damn, this is a lot of money. Ooh, damn, I was gonna kill you anyways. I was gonna take whatever because you was gonna die tomorrow anyways, but I'll take this money too. Evil. Hogwood is evil, and Hogwood is just a white landlord.
Was evil because he did.
And dead. Okay. All that Center said, watch out for them white landlords. That's what he said. I know all of us are, in living in a place most likely with a white landlord, but well, that's how the American system works. TJ, talk to us. Tell me about how you felt.
I just am appreciative of getting like this is well one like we be in the movie theater like you said. So seeing people excited about going to the movies always makes my heart smile. But also to seeing the appreciation and love that Ryan Coogler has for this medium. That 10-minute video that Kodak put out about him talking about the different premium formats. That shit had like 30 million views before the movie came out. And it's because people want to he like he's talking about this. You could tell this is the shit that he thinks about and talks about all day, every day. He cares about the camera. You know, I heard a part of the interview where he said we shot this on film. Like the most of the stuff that y'all are watching or we're watching these days is shot digital. There's no space issues. You can do 100 takes and we can delete
Yep.
them all and it's fine. It doesn't have to exist, or we can keep them all because it's really easy to store that. When you're running those reams on film, especially the big ass cameras that they're using for these
Heavy.
IMAX big heavy cameras that you can't put in your hand, you can't steady cam them like that, like this stuff is happening on film. These people, when they showed up to set every day, you don't have a million takes. We have the day. We got to get what we're supposed to get in this day, in this hour or two. We got to get it
Y'all got to
right.
cook right
And
now.
that level of care and professionalism should not be taken for granted. Obviously, because Coogler films on film a lot. Michael B. Jordan is used to that, but for other actors that haven't worked with Coogler, this might be their first time working on film. If you're somebody who likes to do 10, 15 takes of something, this is
You don't get
not
to do that
you're
no
not
more.
gonna be able to do this. So the way now it's even harder for us to cast our movie because you're gonna get 3, 4 shots at some of these shots. Like that's all you're gonna get. And we're gonna have to use the best one. And as you watch the movie, it's not like you see, oh shit, I see the constraints. This take, there was no good take here, so they use this one. Like it is,
Nope.
it is a true achievement in every sense of the word. It's also a hit in every sense of the word. Sometimes you see an amazing movie that sticks with you, and nobody else saw it but me and Monique. And
Literally.
sometimes you get a blockbuster that
Literally the
sticks with
Puss in
you.
Boots movie.
Like
The Puss in Boots movie.
and I appreciate that this movie exists, and I love that people are having so much fun watching it, and I hope that people continue to watch it. I want it to be very successful.
Absolutely. Commercial success, original black independent filmmaking. That's what We Watch is trying to show you. There's a lot of it out there. There is no shortage of it. Ryan Coogler has opened up a part of the portal, right? I was talking to someone the other day and they said, maybe he ruined film. Maybe he ruined the business of film. Maybe he ruined Hollywood, right? That's a good thing, right? We need to approach things a little differently. We need to open up another portal right here and let you see what's in here because you're missing some treasure here. Let's open this up and let's see some treasure, right? And what do we mean by ruin? Now that you see that we can do this on film, we could do this on IMAX 70, and I can market it for you, right? And millions of people will watch that and also come, and you can see that we will be profitable globally in this way, blah, 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 and I can own it. Now that that's possible, not only does it set a precedent for the people on the business side, but it sets a precedent for us as the viewers, as the what we watch, as the audience. We're like, all right, you don't have to come correct, bro, because I done seen that movie. I done seen that bar. And I think that is such a celebration. Like, I was not kidding. It was not an exaggeration. When I tell you I walked out of Sinners the first time, even happier to be alive, I'd be so excited just to wake up in the morning. I'm even happier to be alive because of this movie, is because it is the very fabric and foundation of what we need, right? The hero we don't deserve, but we need it. And so please celebrate this film. Continue. Please hashtag what we watch. You are the one that makes this space and this event and all of this so much fun. We do this every week, y'all. We are on YouTube. You are forever immortalized. I promise you. Ryan Coogler, the Michael B. Jordans, they listen and they watch our stuff. I promise you. I be getting DMs. I be getting comments on the pages. So I'm so excited to highlight and showcase all your voices. Thank you for saying what you said. With that being said, the next week we talking about the studio, which to me is a perfect, appropriate way to segue from Sinners movie, making a fucking tsunami in the studio world, in the executive world, in the business world of film. The studio is exactly that by Seth Rogen. I love him, love what he does. All of his TV shows are great. The studio's on Apple TV. Seth is probably in a deal with them because he always has someone on Apple TV. And it is the What We Watch recommendation for the week. And I need y'all to tap in. We already talked about The Pit, but I'm telling you, the studio is a close runner-up for me. If you need help with Apple TV, hit me up. We might do a little raffle for What We Watch so y'all can get Apple TV and watch the studio. It is a brilliant comedy from one of the greatest in the industry regarding comedic television and film, right? And it talks about what it takes to make sinners. That's literally what the show is about. It's the show that says, well, what goes behind before Sinners came out last week in 2025? How many years did it take Sinners to get here? And what did Ryan Coogler and team do? And who did he have to advocate and fight for, and not just himself, to make sure that that got filmed in the way that it did, right? That's what the studio is. The studio is the story of how we got Sinners. And that's all I'm going to say. That is the What We Watch rec. Happy What We Watch Wednesday. Please enjoy your evenings. And again, please make sure that you are submitting your future Sinners feature to the What We Watch Film Festival. Link is in bio, but it is whatwewatch.net/events. Thank you so much to my lovely co-host Tej as well. And again, thank you to everyone that makes the We and What We Watch. Bye.